It's the Center Fantasy Football Podcast.
Welcome to the party, pal!
Yes! Yes! Yes, this is my favorite part of the game.
Analyzing all of the league matchups week to week.
You can't win!
Get him a body bag! Finish him!
That is a bit above average.
I said this sucks, and basically so do you.
And discussing the boom, bust, and hidden gem players throughout the league.
We ain't found shit!
What the hell is Brett Favre doing here?
I'm in town to play the Dolphins, you dumbass.
Dan Marino should die of gonorrhea and rot in hell. Laces out.
Touchdown!
And here's your host,
Allow myself to introduce myself.
David Harbatkin. Hello and welcome to the Center Fantasy Football Podcast for Week 4 of Season 7. I am your host, David Harbatkin, joined by the Commissioner and Coach of the Hackettstown Hagglers, Mr. Geza Lutsky.
What's up, people?
And I'm also joined, fresh from his trip to Switzerland, back, the only victorious coach in this discussion right now, the other Hackettstown coach of the other Hackettstown team, Mr. Manny Friedman. Guten Tag, or bonjour, or whatever they say. Whatever they say over there, I don't know. There's like 4 languages, right? I think English is one of them, right? I don't know.
Victorious by 0.12 points, but I'll take it.
Yeah, I know. Well, we're going to discuss that in a second. So we have a jam-packed show this week. We're going to go over, of course, our predictions for next week and the standings and everything else that's going on. There's quite a lot of parity in this league.
Oh wait, Dave, I don't want to interrupt you, but this goes out to Eugene. You'll understand later. Ha ha ha. Good one, Dave.
Exactly, which brings us to the other segment that we are adding to this show, which is an interview segment with the coaches. We would like, as the season goes along, to have an opportunity to talk to the various coaches in the league and do an interview with you and pick your brains about stuff. As alluded to by Mr. Lutsky, our interview for this week, which was conducted yesterday, was with the coach of the defending champs, Mr. Eugene Gazenput. It's, as always, entertaining. I get accused of being Donald Trump, and this gets being, and I think we are labeled as Fox News. We don't give any information, but we're entertaining. So that's at least good to know. But since we have all of that, we also have games to go over, and as you just mentioned, I think we should start with the game that is the closest game not only of this week but of all time, eclipsing the previous record. I tried to look it up. What are we all getting calls?
Oh yeah, I got a call. That's okay. I'll ignore.
Okay. So see,
no one important.
Yeah, it's just Roger Ailes giving you a call. Okay. So eclipsing the previous record, which was a few years ago. I tried to look it up. I could have, but I just don't care enough to actually care. I know it was 0.14 points. I forgot it was between. But now, this victory by 0.12 points, the closest game in league history, as Hackettstown's finest, takes down the Zamunda Lions by a whooping score of 109.90 to 109.78, led on the back of, well, really nobody. But I don't know. So going over the numbers, both your quarterbacks did not do that well. Aaron Rodgers only 15.3 points, 13 for Garoppolo. M. Brown got 6.9 and 9.5 for J. Brown, 11.9 for Terrell Williams, and Emmanuel Sanders. I don't know. He's not, I guess he hasn't learned the Zamunda system yet, coming over there with only 3 points. Carry-on luggage gets 11.3 and 37.10 from Kamara. For Hackettstown's finest, Le'Veon Bell in his last game there got 10.3 and 16.9 for the ageless wonder Frank Gore, who we actually have sponsoring 2 of our commercials during this broadcast. You'll find that out later. For the tight ends, 15.9 for Kelsey and 11.7 for Kittle. And the flex, Gordon got 14.4 and 15.10 from Eckler. 7 for Hackettstown's finest kicker and 6 for Elliott. And for the defense, 13 for the Green Bay defense, who I actually wanted, and you outbid me. Good pickup there, and 1 for the Tennessee defense. All right, so what go over this game. What happened here?
So I was not watching the games because the internet at my hotel in France was absolutely horrendous. But I was having a heart attack because I had a pretty significant lead after the 1 o'clock games, and then Kamara went nuts. So, I just saw, reception after, long gain after long gain, and it was just getting closer and closer. And finally, at the end, the Zamunda Lions was up by like 0.3 points.
Yes.
So, and it was again, Kamara's game was a little bit ahead. So I think Seattle had the ball at the end, if I'm not mistaken. So I wasn't really worried about Kamara getting any more points. But the Chargers-Houston game was like moving slowly, and it was a little bit behind. And all I needed was 1 carry from Eckler. And on a 4th and 3, I believe, he got a 4-yard carry, and that's what put me on the top.
Yep, we were watching. Yes, that's exactly what we were watching happen.
It was absolutely incredible, and I had no internet, so I kept refreshing. I was on LTE or on 4G, and I kept refreshing the ESPN page, and I saw Eckler got that 4-yard carry on 4th down, where I was shocked that Rivers didn't even throw the ball on that down, and that's what gave me the lead. But it was just a total nail-biter.
Yeah. That was
Crazy.
Literally the last time that Eckler touched the ball.
Yep.
Yep.
You found yourself, actually, ironically, kind of in the position that the Hagglers were in the previous week, except this was the end of the game. This really came down to just that play. And actually, me and Geese were on the phone, and we were watching some of the other games, and then I don't even know, we might have even hung up at that point, and I think I called you up, and I said, are you watching what's happening in this Zamunda other Hackettstown game? And yeah, that's because Nick had the lead at that point, and we were like, is he gonna get these yards? I don't know if he's gonna even get this. Yeah.
The projection was actually, pretty good for me, so I actually kind of stopped following for a little bit because I was watching my tennis match, and it was just I was following that because I was there for tennis, and it was super exciting. So I was kind of, looking on Instagram and stuff for that because I thought this game was in the bag. And then I checked, and the Zamunda Lions were ahead, and but not by much. So I was just rooting for Eckler to get a few more carries, and finally he got that one. But it was crazy.
Yeah, I mean, well, this was a crazy week in general. So, as far as bench blunders, I guess we would say Allen or whatever, Austin Hooper. I don't know why I said Allen. Austin Hooper could have gotten you more points, but I mean, still, obviously, you're going to play Kelsey there.
Yeah.
So it's not really a blunder. For Zamunda, I mean, I think did he finally get a better quarterback than either of these 2 jabronis? Because, I mean, Garoppolo is just not doing anything. I guess as far as blunders, Hardman, I guess would have been better than Emmanuel Sanders, although I don't mind the play there. I mean, this was just a close game. I mean, you guys were both way under your projections. Your projection was 138. His was 129.
Yeah.
I mean, it was nowhere near there. But these are the kind of things that make a huge...
well, it's interesting because Devin Smith, I was actually close to starting him because Gallup was hurt and they were playing Miami. And I thought he would get some more touches because he had a couple, long runs in the previous week. But then I saw that Gore would get majority of the carries since Singletary's out. So that kind of helped me.
Yeah. No, I
at
mean
the end.
it was the right play, obviously.
Mhm.
Yes, definitely. Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those weeks where, I mean, largely it's all Kamara for Nick, and for your team, it was pretty pedestrian but solid across the board. I mean, your receivers had an off game,
Crap, yeah.
and I still think that perhaps there's some quarterback issues. I mean, like, I know Aaron Rodgers is Aaron Rodgers, but he's not been doing that well this year so far, at least in fantasy.
It's not. No. He's been relying on his defense.
Yeah. But, I mean, he's still better than Jimmy G, who's terrible. So, I don't know. But, yes, congratulations on your win. It makes a huge difference.
I feel like if you have Rodgers, you can't not stop him. Start him.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. But that's the thing about having a lot of these players. I mean, I know the Hagglers have a completely different method to their madness. They don't care. And Eugene, who, you know, we'll find out he's water, fluid like water.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. He will throw them in the garbage. So, yeah, no, but good win. These are the kind of, I mean, and with you know, how the league is now.
The win is the win.
Yeah, exactly, and especially given how the standings are now, it's absolutely huge. All right, moving on to another close game. I guess we could move on, unless Geese, you have anything else to say about this one?
The narrowest of margins.
Good one, Brick. All right, moving on to the
Ha ha ha! Good one, Dave.
All right, moving on to the next really close game, which I guess was the 1603ers game. I mean, the score ended up being 143.70 to 137.98. Had I overslept for this game, I would have won, because I had Dak Prescott in this game until about 9:50, I think, and then I just said, you know, maybe. First of all, I had Geese's voice in the back of my head just from earlier in the week. Oh, it's gonna be a shootout. even though I was like, but Dak is playing Miami, and he's like, no, it's gonna be and it ended up being a shootout. Yeah, so I at the last second switched it, and that cost me the win. And I could have just devastated Dave's Secret Crush, but now he has new life, and he's already trying to make Shafter trades left and right. But anyway, let's go over the scores individually. Jacoby Brisket gets 24.80 points. Lamar Jackson with only 21.28 points. Tyler Boyd with 12.7, 13.40 for Moore. Eugene's receivers showed up in this game. Boy, did they. So 20.60 for Thielen, 26.80 for Amari Cooper. His running backs absolutely did not. Chris Carson only 4.1 and 4.4 from Jacobs. For the 1603ers, 27.80 points for McCaffrey and 10.8 for Breda. Waller also showed up, 27.10. Vance McDonald got the 2 for 2 for McNuggets with only 2 points right there. Christian Kirk got 15.90. And then I guess, what is this from Mike Evans? 45 points. 45 points from Mike Evans. 8 from on the sly, and 9 from Prater, 1 for the Seattle defense, 7 for the Minnesota defense. So, and then anyway, comparing the difference between the quarterbacks, Prescott got 27.54 points on the bench as opposed to Lamar Jackson 21.28. That made the difference. That was the whole game. Had I slept in, I would have won. Now, this is what I will say about Lamar Jackson's performance in this game. It was still good. There were 3 handoffs to Mark Ingram. Had he just shoveled one of them to him, any one of the 3, we would have won. But no, he handed it off, and that made all the difference in this game, and perhaps in the season. Certainly for Eugene's season, instead of falling 0-3, he ends up 1-2 with everyone else. And for us, we instead of being 2-1, and at the head of the 2-1 pack, since we have the more points than anyone in the league, we're at 1-2. So, absolutely devastating loss. I'm done talking about it unless you want to ask me questions about it. But your analysis on this game.
Well,
McCaffrey had a better game.
Yes. Yeah, McCaffrey had an excellent game. I think we can just sum this up by saying Mike Evans.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look, Mike Evans, he doesn't. First of all, 45 points. If he doesn't do that, Eugene is under 100 points for the third straight week. I mean,
right.
He's not. He hasn't been having an offensive output at all, unless Mike Evans comes in there and does something. So, yeah, it makes a difference when a guy gets 45 points. When he drops a 45 burger on you, yeah, it's gonna make a big difference.
Absolutely. His counterpart, Chris Godwin, who he puts in every single trade offer, did nothing. So, I mean, why did he even pick up Chris Godwin in the draft if he's going to offer him in every single trade offer? Seriously.
Well,
no one wants him, okay?
Well, because that's what he does. He goes in and he goes and gets all of the players that he can, so he could shovel them off to everybody else. I mean, you'll hear more about this in the in-depth interview that we have later with him. But
do not offer trades from players on your bench because other teams are not going to start them.
Yeah, and
there's never put up a player for a trade if they're on your bench. That's my philosophy, unless they're in a package deal.
Oh, he likes to insert his package during the trade.
Insert the package with crap.
Yeah, well, I mean, the interesting thing is, and I do have to give Eugene credit on this. Mike Evans has been disappointing for the first 3 weeks, and Godwin has actually been the one that's been performing. Another coach might have seen that if he has both of them, and gone, all right, fine, I'm gonna put in Godwin this week. I'm done with Evans. It looks like they're going to him, but he stuck with Evans, so I will give him the credit there for sticking with that. That being said, yeah.
But you never know in this league. Like, so far, Ingram has been the best tight end in the league. But for me, I still take Kelsey over him because I just think his upside is better. He has a better quarterback, So, in our back and forth this week, he didn't really get it. Tight ends and running backs are harder to get than receivers.
Yeah.
So if I was going to give him Kelsey, which I did offer him in multiple trades, he would have had to give me 2 receivers in his starting lineup. Evans, Cooper, or Thielen, a combination of 2 of them. And if he was going to give me 1 great running back, which unfortunately he doesn't have, I would have traded, for that. But
yeah, I think you brushed over something the league might have missed there. In our back and forth this week, so was there Shafto trade offers offered to you from Dave's Secret Crush? Would you consider them Shafto, or were they equitable offers?
Hello?
Manny?
Has he dropped off the face of the earth?
No, I think he's still here. Hello?
Hello? It looks like he's still here. Oh, no, he got disconnected for a second right there.
How inconvenient.
How inconvenient. I know. All right. We're going to pause for station identification. You're listening to the Center Podcast Network. while we get it.
Eugene cut the cord.
He cut it off. No, he's listening. Putin over there is like, no, cut it.
No, we can't have that kind of question. I didn't authorize that kind of question.
I did not. Cut it. Got it. All right. We're gonna get Manny right back on the phone. So we're here. All right, we're back. Yeah. So did you just have to duck from a Stinger missile that Eugene sent your way? Don't answer that call.
Oh, wait, did you hear my question?
I did not.
Oh, okay. See, yeah, he knew it ahead of time. He shot the missile through the window. You had to duck. Okay, so my question to you is: the audience might submit that, and you're back and forth with Eugene.
Yep.
Meaning there were several trade offers sent by Robin Hood. Now he claims they weren't Shafto trades; they were equitable. But you being firsthand receiving these trades, how would you rate them? Were they equitable, or would you register them as Shafto trades? Are you taking out again? That's the cord again? Are you still there?
I don't think.
I would not view all of them as Shafto trades, but he would, every time I would offer him something, he would counter with less equity, per se.
Okay.
All
right.
So, I mean, let me go over a few of them. So, I mean, maybe you can chip in and decide if they are Shafto trades or not.
Sure. I mean, well, so, I've already been labeled the brander of, I'm an excellent marketer like Trump, so I like. First of all, do you think that any of these have been Shafto trades personally, or do you think that's just my brilliant manipulation of marketing and labeling Eugene as a Shafto trader?
You're accurate in your evaluation
of myself as a great marketer, or in him being a Shafto trader.
Well, I guess you are a good marketer, but
and let me just say this: Eugene has summed me up in this phrase. Ha ha ha! Good one, Dave. That's my only function on this in this loop.
Right. All right.
I think he doesn't understand a few key things. Like, he doesn't understand that wide receivers are easy to get, easier to get than running backs and tight ends.
Oh, I think he understands it.
You think he understands it? Because it doesn't show in his trade offers.
Oh no, it shows. It shows that he knows it, and he's trying to shaft you. That's the whole point. You're acting as if this man is on the level. Now, that could just be my brilliant marketing about lying Ted over there. But I'm telling you.
Basically, Eugene's entire drafting or trading strategy can be summed up as zip. Grab your ankle.
All right, so I want to go over each of the trades. So,
okay, yeah, let's let the league decide whether or not.
I got off my flight from Geneva. I arrived at New York Airport. I turned on my phone, and I see a trade offer from him, and it was what was it? It was Austin Hoop. Wait, let me just. It was Austin Hooper for Curtis Samuel. First of all, I haven't even heard Curtis Samuel's name. I haven't even heard who he is. So I had to look up his stats and see who he was, where he even played, because I've never even heard of the guy. He
had a good game, though.
Yeah, he did play pretty well. Okay, but he's like the fourth string receiver on Carolina. Right. So, I'm not very interested in him. He's going to be on my bench.
And like he's on his.
Right. And he wanted Austin Hooper, which I understand because his tight end is straight garbage.
Yes.
Okay.
So, but Austin Hooper, I like having him. Even though I'm not going to start him, he's a good to medium, like I would say average to high average tight end that I have on my bench just in case Kelsey goes down. He did have a really good game this week, so I kind of like having him on my bench as like a backup because there are not many good backup tight ends.
I think that's a fair way to think of it. I think of it that way, and I'm sure in his, when he goes to sleep at night, if he can sleep with himself, that's what goes through his head as well.
Right. So that was a total no-go. So then I offered him a counter, and I said, let's do Austin Hooper and Mike Williams for Adam Thielen. So he needs a tight end. I'm adding a average wide receiver to get something good.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Right? So that was my evaluation.
And you're adding Thielen, he's good.
Excellent. Yeah. Right. I mean, he's not one of the best receivers in the game, but he's good.
Historically has been.
Dave's secret crush definitely needs a tight end. I mean, anyone is better than who he has.
Yes.
So I thought it might be, something he would consider. He did not. So then he offered me a. Let me see.
Now, mind you, Minnesota is a run-heavy offense, so Thielen's value does take a dip this season because Minnesota's run it a large majority of the time.
But he still got 20 points last week, and he's still a good receiver historically anyway.
He's good in PPR.
Yeah.
Right. So then his comment was, it's close, but I think I want a little better tight end than that for Thielen. Which, okay, makes sense. So then I offer him another trade. I say, okay, I'll add Austin Hooper and Michael Gallup for Thielen. Because I think Gallup is a step up ahead of Mike Williams, especially when he comes back. I know he's hurt right now, but he was excellent before he went down. And the Cowboys do have a good offense.
Mm-hmm. So
I thought he could put in Gallup for Thielen, and he would have a tight end as well, and he might like that. So he only thinks about the now. He doesn't think about the future.
Yes, he is. He has made that clear.
Right. So he said Gallup is out for 4 weeks, can't do it. He has 3 elite wide receivers now. I wouldn't call them elite, but they're good. And I need that edge against teams. I would love a good tight end, but view Hooper as an average to below average guy. Sadly, he is better than what I have right now. Well, yeah. If you want to improve your team, why don't you accept one of my trade offers? But he didn't want to. So then, of course, now we go with Chris Godwin. He's, he needs to put him in there because he will never start him. So I offer him. No, he proposed this to me. He said he wanted Marquise Brown and Travis Kelce for Adam Thielen and Chris Godwin. No, thank you. That I would classify as a Shafto trade.
Where do you stand on that, Dave? Does that hit Shafto standards? Where do you stand on that?
I mean, that's minor league Shafto standards. I mean, if you wanted a real Shafto standards, because here's the thing. So, like, right when you joined the league, you did get an offer, like, right away, right? Like, he tried to take advantage of you right away, right?
Yep.
Right. So, and I guess we could cover this game next. But the Monkeys just joined the league, and immediately upon coming in the league, his offer to the Monkeys. I have to find this. Let's see, and you tell me what you think, if he's trying to take advantage of the new guy, or if this is a fair, equitable trade. So he offered him Mike Evans and D. Montgomery for Dalvin Cook.
Okay.
Wait, say that again.
Mike Evans and D. Montgomery for Dalvin Cook.
No. Dalvin Cook has been probably the best running back in the league.
Right. So let's talk about what a Shafto trader does. First of all, first thing he does is he brushes up against your leg accidentally. He doesn't go for the money shot right away. First of all, he walks by and he accidentally brushes up against your leg, offers you some garbage, just as, like Dave said, to feel where you're at, if you're a dummy or not. Then he touches your knee. Like, what is that? And he just keeps his hand there to see how fast you move away. Like, how people are slow to move away. Then he makes his move towards the rear end.
But
that's what a Shafto trader does.
But I know that a lot of this has been directed at Eugene, but let's not also forget that he did face a team in last year's championship game that's also slyly good at this, because I did also receive an offer for James Conner this week from the Mighty Whalers. Yes. Now I know Conner has been underperforming. He's pretty bad so far. I still have hopes for him, but we'll see. But I fielded an offer for Allen Robinson II for James Conner. Straight up.
Wow, straight up. Oh my God.
Like, I couldn't. Like, here's the thing. Yes, Connor has been underperformed. I think I said something to the effect of, "Wow, that's what the market is right now. That's pretty bad." I mean, my how the mighty have fallen. But here's the thing: I need to at least be offered somebody that I would want on the team. Like, I don't even want Allen Robinson on the team. Like, give me some like somebody
he
that
goes straight to the bench.
He goes straight to the garbage can. He goes straight to the draft if he comes on to the auction. Like, he's not even like. Just give me something that I could. I don't know. I feel like they're getting pretty desperate. If they're coming to me, first of all, you have to understand that I am the only person in league history that has had one of his trades vetoed. Like, everything that I do gets scrutinized by the league. I guess because I'm just what he he's what did he call me? I don't even know. We'll go through, but I'm suspicious, amorphously, whatever, everything I do. That's why they have the tinfoil hats over there in St. Louis accusing me of having secret insider information or whatever. So, like, I don't trade that often, but I think that these two teams are getting pretty desperate. The Whalers and Eugene might be getting a little bit desperate if they're coming to me for trades and trying to shafto me. Like, I don't even make trades anymore. I don't know. That's all I don't know.
Well, when you think of that Allen Robinson for Connor trade, my philosophy is if you're trading for a running back or if you want a running back, you have to offer a running back in return. It's such slim pickings at running back.
I know. Oh, also, by the way, I think immediately, I don't even have it in front of me, but I know that immediately upon logging on to the new account, the Monkeys had an offer from the Whalers already, just sitting there. It was probably offered to Brian, who just didn't even pay attention. So when he gets onto the account, there's already an offer for Dalvin Cook sitting there in the Monkeys account, just waiting to be rejected. I'm just saying, I could see these two teams trying to work their magic to get back to the championship that way. I think Eugene needs to do it because he's got some problems in his team. I don't know if the Whalers needs to do it, but I guess we could discuss that a little bit more. Let's go into the games because we're already running a little bit.
Well,
but go ahead if you have something else.
I apologize, but I still have some. The back and forth went a little further.
Okay.
So if you don't mind me.
No, go ahead. We will indulge.
Okay. So the Thielen for Godwin for Marquise Brown and Kelsey. So I mean that was an obvious no for me. I can't say yes to a receiver going directly to my bench. Thielen, who's average, to Kelsey, who's really good, where tight end is pretty thin. And Marquise Brown, who I spent $50 on the waiver wire for. I mean, I'm not just giving him up like that. So then I saw that he's short on quarterback. I mean, Jacoby Brissett is terrible.
He's not. He doesn't think so. He's selling him high.
Well, so I was like, okay, I can offer you Rodgers because I'm fine streaming quarterbacks. I mean, he had a problem with that. He didn't want Rodgers. He agreed that Rodgers was better than Brissett, but he was fine streaming quarterbacks as well. He says Rodgers hasn't been great that year, and they have a new offense going. He's looking for an upgraded tight end, but he would do a deal for Kelsey. But 2 elite wide receivers is too much to give up for him. First of all, Thielen and Cooper are good receivers, but they're not elite receivers.
I agree.
So he was fine trading one of them for a smaller role player, but 2 is more than what I would give up. I was also willing to add Cam Newton, who's hurt in that league and been terrible. He would be on my bench probably, but
or in the garbage can.
Yeah, probably. Then he proposed me Marquise Brown and Travis Kelsey for Thielen, Newton, and Godwin. Godwin
did you say mutant? For a mutant?
Cam Newton.
Okay.
So he wanted to give me a garbage quarterback and not take mine, but it doesn't matter. Garbage, it's not worth trading for anyway. So that was a no. And then I offered him Travis Kelsey, John Brown, and Mike Williams for Thielen and Cooper. So it's a tight end, which he needs, 2 kind of average to below average receivers for 2 above average receivers. I thought that was equitable, but he did not want that either. He said, I won't trade 2 out of the 3 receivers for Kelsey because I offered him, you can do any combination. Thielen, Evans, or Cooper. Any combination of the 2 I will give you for Kelsey. But he did not want that. He said Kelsey's been good, but hasn't even been the best. Ingram has been, and Waller has been even better than him. Again, he's only thinking about the now, not the future.
Of course.
Where I think Kelsey has the best upside. And he said that's final for him. So he didn't want to entertain anymore. Then the next morning, I get to work and I see another Shafter trade offer. Another trade offer from him. He wanted Thielen, Godwin, and Samuel to give to me for Brown and Kelsey. No. So that was the end of it. He said that was final, but he still wanted something out of me.
Nothing is ever final. Come on, Eugene. Nothing is ever final for him. No, it's never done.
I think the audience can get the message here.
Right. Have you had any contact with Whalers? Has he tried to offer you anything?
He has.
Oh,
he
okay.
has, by the way.
I'm shocked. Color me shocked.
This was the definition of a Shafter trade. Le'Veon Bell for Brandon Cooks.
I actually see. Here's the interesting thing. Okay. I think Eugene may actually have a reputation. First of all, he has the reputation as being a Shafto trader, and he absolutely is one, whether or not he wants to admit it or not. But I think because he won the championship, and because he actually was better at it than and Whalers is really good at it too. I think that he gets all the credit for it just for being the champion. But I actually think that the Whalers is more of a Shafto trader than Eugene. I think at least Eugene gives you people that have a pulse. I have seen Whalers try to shovel the biggest turds on people, and sometimes they take them. But I just think that because Eugene was successful last year, that he was able, the master brander over here, gave him that label. So so Eugene, I will give you, I will knock down your Shafto tradeness slightly and give Whalers more credit, and give him credit for being under the radar. But now you're on the radar. You're on the radar.
I mean, just laying it out there, I am not an easy person to trade with. I think in the 4 or 5 years I've been doing fantasy football, not in this league, but in others, I've done maybe 1 or 2 trades. So it really has to help me. It has to be equitable. It has to be people that I will start, not people I'm going to put on the bench. So if you're going to offer me a trade, it has to be someone good.
I mean, that's not what happens here. Although I have to say, there's been more trades this year. I mean, look, there's always trade offers. It always happens. But I think there's been more trade offers flying around this year than there has been in previous years. And maybe not flying around, but that have actually been accomplished. I'm actually impressed with how many have been accomplished, largely from the Hagglers. But all right. So I think that's enough trade talk. Let's get to these games because we're probably brushing up against 3 hours long on this podcast. I mean, by the time you start listening to this on the East Coast, it'll be the same time that you started when I finish it on the West Coast, or when whatever. Anyway, okay. So what games can we get to? Well, let's start with the Hagglers game. So following in the footsteps of the 1934 St. Louis Gunners taking over for the Cincinnati Football Reds with 3 games left in the season. I did watch a YouTube video. The Memphis Monkeys mid-season take over for the Millennials, or Brian's team, or whatever he's calling it, but it was the Millennials. As was commented, what a millennial thing to do to leave mid-season, of course. So thank you, first of all, to John Hernandez for joining the league. I'm sure that thanks is somewhat tempered in Hackettstown, or at least in half of Hackettstown after the result. But if it gives the league any hope, I did also look this up. And when the St. Louis Gunners, who only played 3 games ever, came into the league back in 1934, here's their history. They were an independent professional football team based in St. Louis. They took over the Football Reds. They won their first game against the Pittsburgh Pirates, now the Steelers, 6-0, but lost the last 2 to the Detroit Lions, 40-7, and the Green Bay Packers, 21-14. So, they really are following in the footsteps of the Gunners. Winning this week's game, 153.70 to 126.32. Really on the backs of everybody. So, I mean, it just shows you what a difference a coach can make. So, Jameis Winston, who he went out and got 32.5 points. Smith-Schuster got 17.10, 33 for Cooper Kupp. Dalvin Cook, as we had talked about, continuing to do well, 24.30. His only kind of poor performance. Well, there's 2. 7.10 for Sony Michel, and Hurst got only 3.4 as the backup tight end, but he almost had a lot more opportunities there. Marvin Jones Jr. got 22.10 points, 11 for Crosby, and 3 for the defense. For the Hagglers, 21.32 for Allen over in Buffalo, 12.7 for Hopkins, and 14.6 for Fitzgerald. Gurley only got 4.30 points in that Sunday night game, and his opponent got 17.10. 23.30 for Ingram, the vaunted Ingram that Eugene wants, and 23 for unlike Aguilar. I don't know if you saw. I love that clip. We was just throwing babies out the window, and he was catching them, unlike Aguilar. All right, 3 points for Lutz and 7 for the San Francisco defense. So, Hagglers.
Well, this team can be very easily summed up. After the Week 1 loss to Harbacken and the 1603ers, there's some tremblings, earthquake tremblings. After the Dave Secret Crush game, there was a sort of a 3 Mile Island effect where a few trades were made, some players were picked up. And then after this week, as you can see, it was Chernobyl. As Hagler roster imploded, I guess is the better word. And a lot of these people are gone now. But if we have to relive this horrific nightmare, let's go inside the numbers. All right. So Josh Allen had an excellent matchup against Cincinnati where he put up 21. It was not scintillating. Unfortunately, I have no idea why anyone would pick up Jameis Winston for any reason whatsoever. He did. And he blew it up combined with his partner in crime, Mike Evans, who shafted Dave. It was 32.5 points, which is extremely disappointing to say the least. Juju Smith-Schuster was shut down the entire day, albeit his 79-yard touchdown catch. How convenient.
Actually, this was, I will tell the audience, this is pretty hilarious. So, me and Geese were talking during the game, and he sees Smith-Schuster go for the long touchdown. And Geese is like, ooh, Smith-Schuster goes for 75 yards. That's going to hurt somebody. Who's he playing with? And I'm like, he's playing you. He's on the Monkeys. He's like, the Monkeys?
I cycled through all the teams, Lightning Rods, Whalers. Man, I was like, who has this guy? Somebody got screwed. And then I go back to my game. Guess who's leading by a humongous margin thanks to Smith-Schuster? The Monkey! So that was unpleasant to say the least. And then you got, the Cooper Kupp shafting on Sunday night. It was Cooper Kupp-a-thon. 11 catches with 2 TDs for Cooper freaking Kupp. Get out of here, bitch. And then Dalvin Cook, of course. There's no stopping Dalvin Cook this season. He's out of control. And then Marvin Jones Jr., how familiar. A player I've tussled with in the past many times. I threw him in the dumpster earlier. Guess who picked him up? And guess who just happens to come through for 22 big-ass points. Now, mind you, his previous totals were 9 and 10. So he gets more points this week than he did combined, as usual. And the Monkeys open up to a cruise control blowout win. There was nobody I could have put in here that would have made a difference. This was an embarrassment. And as you can tell, the Hagglers were in Chernobyl mode because many, many deals were made. So we'll see how next week turns.
What did you say to me during the game? I love this line. It was something to the effect of, 2 girlies wouldn't have beaten 1 cup.
Yeah, 2 girlies, 1 cup. It was
So Geza, when you offered me the Gurley and a Hopkins trade for Le'Veon Bell, it was quite surprising to me. For me, it was an instant yes, which is very rare amongst the trades in this league. An instant yes. But what was your rationale behind it?
We need players with targets. I want targets. That's our new thing. So as you could, if you go inside the NFL statistics, you'll see that Bell has a ton of targets. That's what we're looking for. Gurley wasn't getting as much, so we went in Chernobyl mode. So we're going wild this season.
I'm actually I mean, I kind of got a sense of this from what you were saying earlier, is that you look at it long term. You think that, because Hopkins is not, I mean, he's been fine, but he hasn't been that great, and same thing with Gurley. But I sense from this that you feel like they're both going to, over the long haul, have good seasons, even though their numbers haven't been great so far. Is that my assessment?
Yes, I think their upside is great. I think Gurley, has a lot of potential. He's on a good team, better than Bell's team, and I think Bell is going to wear out a little bit. I was a little bit worried about his injury, woes, especially since he hasn't played last year, and how durable he is going into the latter parts of the year. Considering he gets so many targets, I think Hopkins is, a top-tier running back, top-tier receiver. And I think he's just going to get better. So the season is young. I think we can't be prisoner of the moment, And to me, it was an excellent trade for my team. I think it looks good for you if you're considering targets and you want running backs. I think Bell is a little bit better than Gurley if you just compare them two. If you just offered me Bell for Gurley, I probably would have declined, but adding Hopkins, I had to accept.
Yeah, well, it's nice to see two teams be able to, both feel like they got a win out of a trade. And I actually think that both rationales are completely reasonable. I mean, I probably would have thought the same way. I actually would have liked to have Bell on my team. I mean, Gurley, I think he's actually going to have a good season. I think they're holding him back slightly. I think Hopkins, he still gets, consistent, double-digit points. I think it works out, well too. And I agree with you. Just Gurley for Bell, I wouldn't have done it, but given the two, it makes sense on both ends. Okay, so that moves us on to we only have a few games that we can go over. I mean, I guess we can go move to the Mighty Whalers, who I've used my brilliant marketing to also label a secretive Shafto trader. But here's the thing. I've been quite critical of the Whalers up until this point. And his very, very soft schedule. But I will say that he had an opponent this week that has been who has put up the second most points in the league. Now, granted, there is clearly a training staff problem. I don't know if Ebola is making its way through Wakanda or something. As every week he's shedding new players. I don't even think. First of all, I don't even understand how he's not using the IR, being that his entire team is on IR or suspended. But so the Whalers put up the points this week. So I certainly will give him credit there. I think Michael Thomas helps that a little bit, talking about trades, but I don't want to say that anybody got Shafto traded on this program, but I think maybe somebody might have. But whatever. I mean, who did you trade? Was Michael Thomas for who?
Oh, it's for people not even on my team anymore.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I was going to say. Okay. So you're also like water or gas. I don't know. But anyway, credit to the Whalers improving his numbers from the, he still has a very low point total. But all right, this week 164.54 to 148.26 against Wakanda, who continues to put up the points despite having everybody go down. He's now I mean, we could go off the list after this, but okay. Andy Dalton gets 20 points, followed by Devontae Adams, has actually been disappointing, 9.6 for him. Sammy Watkins, 11.4. Mark Ingram with the whooping 35 points, taking all of the points. He owes me about 26 points on my game because my guy handed it off to him. Saquon goes down with the injury, but not before he gets 7.7 points. 25.5 from Olsen. This guy has been really good. And then Dorsett, now that Antonio Brown is gone, that was a good play right there. 18.5 points. 6 for Gould, and another double-digit performance from his defense, the New England defense, topping the league. This week they got 14. For the Whalers, Deshaun Watson decided to show up, 31.84 points for him. Michael Thomas, 16.4. 20 for Brandon Cooks. 17.5 for Joe Mixon, who finally showed up. But he was playing, I don't know, Buffalo, whatever. That's still fine. LaShawn McCoy, who also got thrown in the trash, I believe, last week by the Hagglers, gets 23 points for the Whalers. I guess he likes his new team, just like he liked being traded from Buffalo and is doing better here. Zach Ertz, 10.4, 32 for Tyler Lockett, 4 for Tucker, and 9 for the Rams defense. Yeah, I mean, I got to hand it to the Whalers. He would have beaten, Wakanda, here's the thing. Wakanda is just snake bit. I don't know what else to say. I mean, this team is putting up massive point totals, and everybody's going down in injury. He's already lost Breeze. He's already lost Saquon now. He lost Deshaun Jackson. I mean, but to still be putting up 148 points, losing all of those guys, I mean, yeah. I mean, he would be blowing out this league if his guys could stay healthy, but apparently none of them can. At least he kept Gallman. And Whalers, congratulations on finally putting up some points in a
Devontae Adams has been a disappointment. In the draft, we thought he was like one of the best receivers in the league.
I certainly thought he was. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's been putting up very pedestrian numbers.
But I mean, it's the same thing with Rodgers. I think the whole, I haven't really watched that many Green Bay games, so I don't know what's been going on there. But yeah,
yeah.
I think that whole Green Bay team, the numbers are kind of low. Although Valdez-Scantling, who the Monkeys told me that he didn't play him because he didn't like the name. Ended up with a lot of points this week, so I guess he got, whatever. I don't know. We'll see if he plays at MVS this week against me. In fact, he did text me a few, after the game or something. What did he say? Bummed I judged his name so harshly.
I see.
Yes. So I don't know what to say. I think the Whalers, look, first of all, the Whalers already has, and by the way, the projected best team in the league by Yahoo. I mean, I clearly they knew something. I don't know, because when it came down to the first two games where he didn't really need to put up that much points, he didn't. But when he had to put up the points and bring the point totals to Wakanda, he did. So credit to the Whalers for meeting his opponents every week. I first of all, at the top of the league, and we'll go over this when we go over the standings, but I just think that these teams are just almost uncatchable just because of the records, at least in terms of the bye. I think that's almost locked up at this point, but I don't know. What are your assessment of this game?
Yeah, Whalers, again, this is more like a Mike Evans, Tyler Lockett mirroring each other. Lockett with 32, that was a little bit surprising. Again, it's another one of those things where it's more points than he scored the first 2 weeks combined. So that was unforeseen.
14 targets, 11 receptions, 154 receiving yards, only one TD to get that.
I mean, come on. And once again, on a personal note, this has nothing to do with anyone else. It's really disappointing to see LaShawn McCoy doing these kinds of things after he's thrown in the dumpster. Apparently, being thrown in the dumpster rejuvenates many players. And of course, we can't stop there. How about Michael Thomas? Don't stop till you get enough. So Michael Thomas apparently continuing to roll. So there's pretty much not a team in the league that hasn't been impacted by the Hagglers. We'll see as the season finally finishes up who it'll be like a Hagler coaching tree. Who started off in the Hagglers and how they're doing much better now, I'm sure.
Yes. They apparently don't like hanging out. Is Eminem something? I saw Eminem's trending on Twitter last week. Is Eminem's okay? Do they not want to hang out at the factory and get some over there?
Yeah, all we have in this town is an M&M's factory.
Right. So I'm just wondering, do they just not like hanging out in Hackettstown?
Well, there's been a lot of shady characters outside, drug addicts and stuff, hanging out in front of. Yeah. It's a easy place to be.
Yeah, they don't want to be on Schooley Mountains Road.
No, I give credit to the Whalers. His 3-0 record is probably a lock for second place already.
Do you two share a stadium like the Jets and Giants, or do you each have your own stadium over there?
No, mine's down near the dumpster. Manny's is more upscale. He's uptown Hackettstown. We're dumpster town. We're near the slums.
So it's
I mean, there are two pharmacies in Hackettstown, and we both work in the good one.
Right. So our stadium is located near the slums, unfortunately, which is why most people. It's easy to throw them in the dumpsters because we have a lot of them around.
Yeah.
So the Hagglers are more like the White Sox, the Southsiders, and the Finest are more like the Cubs. Interesting. Okay. All right. I don't have anything else to say about this game other than hockey still remains dangerous. If he can stay healthy, I mean, hopefully he can go through this next week without any major injuries, and maybe he could do something. Okay, so that's it for that game. Moving on to the next game. Well, let's go on to the other team that's going to clearly get the bye and maybe first place. So speaking of garbage barges also. So Nick and Jamie, no longer a cruise ship, back down to the garbage barge. 122.16 to the soon-to-be first-place team, the St. Louis Blues, with 125.96. So for the Blues, Mahomes, 33.86, Odell Beckham, 11.60, and then we move to Cyberdyne, 4.3 or 43.60 for Keenan Allen. Actually, he did make that trade, so I'll give him credit for that. 43.6 points for Allen. Then we move. And Aaron Jones. Wait, did he draft Allen or not?
No, the computer did.
Oh, yes, the Cyberdyne parameter. Sorry, I'm going to take that 43 and just hand it to Cyberdyne. But Aaron Jones, you got that 15.3 points. Carlos Hyde, 7.9. Andrews with only 4.5. John Ross, a St. Louis gem. That's all Lombardi, 2.20 points. Bryant with 6 and Philadelphia with 1. Then we move on to Nick and Jamie's garbage barge, 25.66 for Wentz, 20.50 for Hilton, who went down with an injury. Galladay with only 3.70 points, giving all of them to Marvin Jones Jr. to beat the Hagglers. Marlon Mack with 16.8, 12.5 for Freeman. Delaney Walker with 13.4, and Derrick Henry with 11.6. 6 for Gostkowski, and 12 because we know that they read Defensive Digest over there. All right. Yeah, I mean, this is another performance, by the way. I mean, so the Blues win by 3 points, and they got 43 from Allen. Do you know how badly they would have been blown out in this game? It would have been ugly. But, win's a win. And the reason why I say that they're going to be champs if they don't blow it is, if you haven't heard the news, Melvin Gordon is coming back, it seems. So you could just add that to the... he didn't draft him either. So you could just add that to the Cyberdyne team.
Don't remind me.
Yeah. So just add that to the Cyberdyne team, and if the Lombardi's tinfoil hat doesn't screw it up, I think he he could do things just by record alone. I mean, because he's already 3-0. I mean, he's just
All right. Well, first of all, you have to understand. Anytime we cover a Lombardi matchup, there's actually 3 teams that play here. There's Cyberdyne or Skynet.
Robin Hood also.
Matt Lombardi, yes, and then there's actually 4 teams playing. There's Shafto Eugene, aka Robin Hood, giving Lombardi his firepower, quote unquote. There's the tinfoil hat coach himself, low end coach Juan Lombardi. Then there's Skynet / Cyberdyne, who takes most of the credit for this organization after his human I guess host had a meltdown. And then Nick and Jamie, the actual opponent they're playing that week. There's a lot of things going on.
I'm just curious. I mean, because like you look at the team that Cyberdyne, drafted for him, and I mean, like LeVar years ago, he won the championship based on on a Cyberdyne based team. I'm wondering, are we going to go to the auction next year and it's just going to be 12 computers bidding it out against each other to see for global dominance, and people just wake up the next morning and I'm like, oh wow, look at what I got. Because
well, we should probably start. What we should start doing is adding up the points that Cyberdyne gets and versus what Lombardi got, and then divided by their opponent. So in this game, Cyberdyne did a great job. I mean, they racked up some points, didn't they? I mean, what was Lombardi actually credited for in this game? We can credit him for
Mahomes, Beckham, and Jones,
and
Ross.
And Ross.
Don't forget the 2 points.
Okay, so that's 70, 80, so 87, maybe 90 points. So Nick and Jamie actually beat Lombardi 122-90. However, thanks to Cyberdyne, they actually absorbed the W because Cyberdyne made up the rest of the points. So what's that? You can add another 35, 40 points. So that Nick and Jamie was actually playing 2 people this week. It wasn't really fair. So, congratulations, I guess, to the cyborg.
Yes. So there's that. What do we think about Nick and Jamie's team? I don't know.
Well, see,
maybe that should just be the title of this week's episode.
It's just hard, like you said, to get excited about any of these players. Like, you hear their names and you're like, what time is it? But they did put up 122 points. I mean, it was that's all I can say. None of these players I didn't even feel like discussing.
All right, let's move on to the last game.
I feel like discussing AJ Green, who's injured. That's like his the person I like on his team.
Yeah.
The people that are injured I like better than the players that are playing.
That is a good one.
That's true.
And with no timetable for AJ Green's return, I think that it mirrors that there's no timetable for their next win.
Okay.
Okay. Well, moving on to the last game of the week, I believe, right? This is the final last game.
It's the the garbage truck that's on fire, taking the garbage to the garbage barge. Actually, lit up the Tillett trade team.
Yeah, I don't know what happened. There was an uprising from the 0-3 teams. All 3 0-3 teams won this week as the Lightning Rods take down Tillett trade team 158.44 to 141.74. Russell Wilson with 45.34 points. Mike Evans like numbers right there. Robert Woods 8.80. Stephon Diggs with 4.50. Yikes. Ezekiel Elliott against Miami 15.9. 29 from Lindsey. Font. He should use a different font than Comic Sans right there, which is a 4.70 points. 19.2 for Edelman. Butker got 10 and 21 for the Chicago defense. For Tillett Trey, 24.14 points for Brady, 26.8 for Julio Jones, who's actually been quietly very good, as well as McLaurin, who's got 19 points this week. David Johnson, 18.5, 15.2 for Fournette. Only 9.6 for O.J. Howard, who actually showed up and got himself some points this week. Way to go, buddy. 7.5 for Barber, 10 for Zerline, and 11 for Buffalo. I think that Tillett-Trey has a way more balanced team, and he just caught the lightning rods on a week that he played Chicago against Dallas. And also, I mean, this is what? I mean, Philip Lindsay, 29 points, and 45 from Wilson. I mean, I don't know. We'll see if this is sustainable.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, like you said, there's these inexplicable games where, I mean, first of all, let's clap it up for the Chicago defense. At one point, they were up to like 24, 25 points, beating down the hapless Redskins. We actually discussed trading maybe a RB2 or an RB1 for the Chicago D.
I wouldn't trade an RB1, but I certainly would consider trading an RB2 for the Chicago defense.
Mm-hmm. Right, it's come down to that in this league.
I mean, frankly, hockey should trade for the defense. Well, he has the best defense in the league. Actually, New England has been the best defense, and they have the weakest schedule. It's ridiculous. That's the only player that's going to keep playing because the whole defense can't get injured unless they all get mono or rickets or something. But but basically, that's been his most consistent player because it's like 12 of them. And they can't all go down, so,
Tillett-Trey had big performances for most of his team, except for the two, why would you start two Yuccaneers in the same week? That as glaringly as you look down the lineup, who didn't perform yet? Tampa Bay players.
Yeah.
So maybe you might have bait with them. And he is damn lucky that Leonard Fournette had that 69-yard rush.
Oh, yeah.
Otherwise,
Fournette was, I think he was negative 3 points. Or something like that before that. I mean, and frankly, if you're going to play anybody, I mean, he just picked up Chark. I thought Chark was actually a really good pickup. He didn't want to risk it. But I would risk it. I'd risk it on Brisket. No, I'd risk it on Chark over Barber. I mean, again,
it's good to see he learned his lesson with Clam Crowder. I mean, he obviously was a week one wonder. He benched him. And
right.
then
Brown.
You have interesting Antonio Brown continues to be snake bit with that.
How long is Herndon? I thought Herndon was only suspended for 2 games. Is he still suspended? What happened? Did he do something else? I mean, what is he just drafting bad boys on his team? Does he want to get some street cred with this team? What's going on here? Antonio Brown, Chris, Herndon. I mean, does he want to get himself, I don't know, OJ on his team too? He already has OJ Howard because he can't get the real OJ because he's not available. I mean, what does he want? He just wants the bad boy. He wants a bad boy reputation this year, it looks like.
Yep. No Aaron Hernandez.
He also, unfortunately, is unavailable.
Yeah, he is. He's in a cemetery right now. He's like, yeah.
I mean, he's available in 100% of leagues. He's just not available to actually.
Yeah. Who else is a bad boy? I
don't know.
Kareem Hunt. Does he have Kareem Hunt?
No, that's on Wakanda. On the Wakanda, all injured, all suspended team.
Okay.
I think Kareem Hunt might have just, if he's on Wakanda, he might have just suspended himself. He's like, look, I don't want to get whatever you guys got. I don't know what's going on.
Maybe Tillett-Trey should pick up Ray Rice.
Ray Rice, yeah, he's available in 100% of leagues also.
Yeah.
Colin
right.
Kaepernick is available.
Yeah, but I mean, he's not so much of a bad boy.
No, he isn't. That's true. A lot of people saying he should be in the league.
Yeah, exactly. I'm thinking more like Ray Lewis. People who have, done hard time and murdered people, or have avoided murder charges, but still murdered people.
Yeah.
Allegedly. Okay. Well, I mean, so all right. Look, just assessing this game, I think Tillett is fine. I mean, 141 points. That's still a damn good performance. He just caught one of the 0-3 teams on this week, just like everybody else who played the 0-3 teams. The 0-3 Rising. So anything else on this game or any of the games from this week? All right. Well, we are going to take a quick break right now. But after the break, we will hear the interview from Eugene, so make sure to stay tuned from that so you'll actually get context about what we've been talking about. And then, after we come back from that, we will come back with the standings and look forward to next week's game. So make sure you stay tuned and perhaps consider this offer from our quote-unquote sponsor. Do you have a need to attach things to one another but don't want to use chemically processed sticky substances in order to do so? Well, fortunately, we have developed an all-natural, organic solution to meet your adhesion needs. Here at Gunther's Glue Factory, our patented solvent is made of only the finest former NFL players that have been sent out to pasture and humanely taken out back to make the highest quality glue available on the market today. And it's made with bits of real Carolina Panther, so you know it's good. Be sure to act now as supplies are limited since we were expecting a shipment of Frank Gore, but due to the unforeseen hamstring injury of Devin Singletary, that shipment has been delayed. Gunther's Glue. Don't beat a dead horse when you can use a retired colt. Welcome back to the show. We are going to start a new segment here on the program where we're hoping to talk to each of the coaches in the league, get your opinions and thoughts, pick your brains about your team and the season and how everything's going. Our first interview we conducted earlier in the week with none other than Eugene Gazenput of Dave's Secret Crush. He's a perfect interview. It's a very entertaining one. So here is that interview. All right. Joining us on the program is the defending champion, the coach of Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, Dave's Secret Crush, the victorious from this past week, Mr. Eugene Gazenput. Welcome to the show.
Welcome, everybody.
Yes,
nice
welcome.
To be on the podcast.
Welcome, Coach Eugene. Is it Gazenput or Gazenput? How do you pronounce it?
I think it's Mr. Champion, whatever you guys want to do it. Everybody pronounces it differently.
I see. Right.
So yeah, you earlier posted on Facebook that you started out last season 0-2.
That's right.
And then you ended up winning the championship. Do you find a similar run in the works this year?
I hope so. That's always the goal, right? If you're not in it to win it, what are you playing for? So far, every year I've been in this league, which is 2 years. This is my third year. I've been dominant. I've been dominant every year. So it just takes my team a little time to get going. So we got a little juice back. The Lombardi draft scenario sort of threw us off because I'm in a charity struck mood, and I decided to give him a player because I felt so bad for him.
Which was the player you gave him?
I gave him Aaron Jones and I forget somebody else for Mike Evans.
He was that memorable, huh? You forgot him already?
Right.
It wasn't anybody like that crazy, but it was Aaron Jones and somebody else for Mike Evans.
Yeah. I was just gonna ask, who was the guy you got in return? Oh, Mike Evans. What did he?
Yeah.
What did he do?
Well, we show up for primetime games.
So you at least consider the 1603 as a primetime game.
Always. Every
right,
game against you, Dave.
Record,
I treat it as primetime.
Aaron Jones and Tevin Coleman is not even playing right now.
Yeah, well, he got hurt, so that was a freak thing.
For Mike Evans and Royce Freeman, who last week also had double digits.
Royce Freeman?
Yeah.
You traded him Royce Freeman?
Yes.
No, I got Royce Freeman.
Yeah,
and then you
got Royce Freeman and Mike Evans. How convenient.
And then you dropped and then you dropped Royce Freeman, which was conveniently picked up by the Whalers, your your shafting opponent.
Yeah.
So how many trade
fine.
offers have you made to league members, first of all? Would you say a ballpark so far this season?
That's like asking a guy how many girls he slept with. Or guys.
All right.
It's not a polite thing to.
Mr. Married Man.
It's not a polite question, Dave. I've made and received trade offers. That's all I will comment on. We're always wheeling and dealing.
Has it increased in the last couple of weeks, or in the last week?
In the last week, there have been a lot of interest. I've gotten probably 10 to 15 trade offers.
And how many of the offers have you been involved in would you consider equitable to you?
There's actually been a few equitable ones. I've thought about a couple of them.
Can you name any?
One, yes, I can. There was one involving Kelsey from Hackensack Finest.
Okay.
I forget the detailed players involved.
Of course.
There was one. I forget I don't know some of the league members' names. Gaetan or something. Who's that? I don't know.
Gayton.
Okay.
He's the Lightning Rods.
I forget what. If you tell me the players on his team, there was a couple of guys that we were like going back and forth on.
He has Ezekiel Elliott and Evan Engram. He currently has Edelman.
No, maybe it wasn't him. There's a guy on the team with John Brown, like from Buffalo.
Another guy on the team. That's Hackettstown's finest.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. There was a couple of John Brown. He was throwing out some things. He wanted like Thielen and Cooper for Kelsey and someone else, and like entertained that for a little while. It was going back and forth. There was one that was like pretty close that I was like debating pulling the trigger, and ultimately I decided not to. But we'll see.
So who are you rocking with their tight end?
Right now I have Vance McDonald, and we'll see. Every week might be different.
I think Vance McDonald actually got injured, but in any event, would you consider Kelsey an upgrade?
Yes.
Like,
he's an upgrade.
The top 3 tight ends in the league, so maybe Cooper and Thielen is not such a bad deal.
I don't think it's like a crazy outlandish deal. I don't think I would trade 2 elite wide receivers for a tight end.
Well, are there any tight ends that you would put above Kelsey this season, performance-wise?
I mean, Ingram has been better than him. I like the guy from Oakland, Waller. He's been good.
I like him too.
Yeah. Dave hit a home run with him. I liked him in the draft, but I spent some money a little bit early. I think he won late.
I think you got. I think you went Jared Cook this year instead. You went for the old Oakland receiver.
I went Jared Cook, who's been a bust, and now with Breeze out, he's been a bust. Vance McDonald's been a bigger bust.
Yeah, but you only had him for a week.
He was going to be much better. Yeah, I mean, I thought he would be a lot better than he was. That was
so going back to the draft, can you like explain to the other coaches out there and the fans, like, what was your draft strategy going in? You seem to save your money quite late.
Well, if you remember, I did the same thing last year. I go with the approach of depth over elite guys. So whereas some guys could spend like $80 on Barkley or McCaffrey, I got a whole bunch of quality guys. Like I got like 3, 4, 5 running backs that I deemed to be second, third tier guys
that you can shovel off to other
that
teams.
I can shovel off, trade. Injuries happen, as we all know. So I packaged, let's say, Aaron Jones and one of the other guys for Mike Evans.
Yeah, you gave them your package, all right.
Yeah, there's a package. Look, I have a different outlook on things, and it changes from year to year.
And week to week.
A little bit different. And week to week. I move like water, man. You gotta be fluid in this business. So it's anybody is tradable. Anybody's up. I'll trade anyone. So if the right offer comes along and I think it helps my team get better, I'm gonna trade them.
Also, I'm also curious. So I noticed that you made a Shafto trade offer to Hackettstown's Finest like at the start of the season, and then right when the Monkeys came into the league, I noticed you sent them a Shafto trade that was also rejected. So do you try to take advantage, or like do you try to feel out who is a sucker?
First of all, I don't. If you tell me what the offer was, I could tell you and comment on whether or not I think it was a shaft or not. You're just making a lot of accusations without actually specifying what the offer was.
All right.
what the trade was.
I'll tell you what
So
the offer was.
let's back up.
Okay, it was Mike Evans and D. Montgomery, whoever that is, for Dalvin Cook.
That's the you mean the starting running back on the Bears?
Exactly, the starting running back on the Bears for Dalvin Cook.
Yeah.
And Mike Evans, immediately after he has his one good game of the season, you know it's going to be his only good game.
Okay, well that's not true. If you look at last year, I think he had like 1,500 yards and something. So he's always been an elite guy.
But
what
Dalvin
did you do
Cook
against you this week?
Okay, but let's
this week?
Eugene, let's back
okay.
up for a second.
Let's back up.
If you were the owner of Dalvin Cook and somebody offered you those guys, what would you have to reject that trade?
So you got to look at the deal in totality. It depends on I'm serious. It depends on the team. If I had a team that needed a wide receiver and I was up, Dalvin Cook, who's been amazing to start the year,
agreed,
has been injury prone every single season. He's got injury prone. So it's not like he's a solid thing. Just because he had 2 good games, you could say the same thing about what's his face in the first game, McLaurin from the Redskins. Like a lot of these guys who blow up week 1. Like who's the tight end on Detroit who bid $60? T.J. Hawkinson. Geese bid $60 on him. Great week 1. He's going to be a stud, right? Geese, how did he do this following week?
He's not even on my team anymore.
Exactly. He's dead to you, right? So, just because you do something in week 2 or 3, Cook did nothing last year, right? He was hurt. He was hurt the year before. So he's got injury issues. It depends on the team. He didn't want to do it. It's fine. I get it.
No, but my question is more like, do you try to feel people out to see if they're suckers? Because obviously last year Nick was a sucker. I mean,
I don't think so. I don't think when we went over
Keenan Allen and
Javarius
Allen for Ezekiel Elliott.
How's Keenan Allen doing this year?
How's Javarius Allen doing this year?
At the time, he was the starting running back in the Ravens.
For 1 week. All I'm saying is, do you try to feel people out to see if they're suckers, and then if they stand up and they say, okay, I'm not, then do you come back with like more legitimate offers, or like no, you just give everybody gets offered a Schefter trade. It doesn't matter your skills or anything else. You want to find out if somebody's like drunk at the wheel and will accidentally press the claim button. Or you
guys constantly think people. Geese, didn't I make several trades with you? I made the Le'Veon Bell trade when Bell did shit for 3-4 weeks. You traded him to me at the low. I forget who I forget now who I gave you in return.
And it was
Bell Diggs and
Diggs, who was a top 5 wide receiver
from Tampa Bay.
And Geese was a sucker. Geese was new in the league at that time too. He was a sucker, frankly.
What do you mean new in the league?
I think
he was like the commissioner. He was the commissioner of the league 2 years ago. He couldn't have been new. And
he got voted in right away.
Le'Veon Bell sucked for like 2-3 weeks straight. I took him at the bottom, and then he started playing well, and all of a sudden it becomes a Shaft trade. When I traded Devontae Adams, who was the number 1 wide receiver last year, for McCaffrey, it was Devontae Adams, I think, and somebody else for McCaffrey. Adams was the number 1 wide receiver. How's that a Shaft trade? You actually admitted last year in the podcast that it wasn't a fair there was a fair trade and it wasn't a shaft. Now you're calling all my trades shafts. I mean, come on.
They are. They end up being shafts because you have an insight into what will like I said with Mike Evans. This was a DeLeo shaft. It's amazing. I think that you have the skill to be able to notice what's going to happen.
So I'm a fortune teller, right?
You are.
I'm like am I Nostradamus?
I think you are.
I buy guys on the low.
I think you do. First of all, I think you absolutely do buy guys on the low, and I think you also find.
Isn't that the strategy?
I think
the strategy.
Yeah, but I think that look. I'm not. This is like I know it's veiled criticism, but it's actually not criticism. It's actually complimentary. It just sounds bad, but I'm actually complimenting you in your ability to do this. I think this is impressive what you can do.
First, you asked me what's my draft strategy. I get it. I'm the defending champion. You're like, what's your draft strategy? You're asking me for in a league where you're my competitor how I draft my guys and what my strategy is. Do you want to know what stocks I buy?
Past tense draft. What was your strategy?
Yeah.
What is that?
I'll tell you what my draft strategy this season was. It was to go get McCaffrey and to go get Connor. Now Connor is blowing up in my face, but I wanted 2 quality running backs and I wanted a good tight end. I didn't think I could get Kittle at the price that he was going for, so I went for Waller.
So what you're saying basically is you didn't study any of the other guys in the NFL. You studied 2 guys that you wanted, and the rest of the draft was up for grabs.
No, I studied. I studied 2 guys that I wanted that I was willing to spend a ton of money on, and then the rest of them I studied actually quite intensely to see who I felt I could get for the remaining money. And look, my record doesn't pan out right now, especially since of the loss this last week. But I have more points than anybody in the league currently. And had I overslept and not made my last minute edit, I would have been 2-1. You would have been 0-3. So
and
that's
bad. If I didn't start Cam Newton the first 2 weeks, my record would be different too. So come on.
Okay, but all right. So now, how'd you gone?
If my grandmother had balls, she'd be my grandfather. What else were we talking about? Come on.
It's 2019. That's not necessarily true anymore. Anyway, the point is, I actually am curious. Had you gone 0-3, would that have? Would you have been like devastated at that point, or would that have motivated you more? Like, does the?
It depends. I'm actually not that unhappy with my team. I think I have a solid team. I think I've been hurt by the quarterback a lot. The first 2 weeks, Newton killed me. He killed me. He absolutely killed me. I should have beaten G's in the second week. Newton killed me, and I fixed that. And Brissett, who's been solid. So, I mean, that was
fine.
2 losses right there by Newton. He cost me 2 losses. Evans not showing up the first 2 weeks also hurt me.
Sure, but let's also consider the fact that Evans got 45 points. You take away that 45 points, you would have had under 100 for the third straight week in a row.
But you can't take away points from players. I mean, what if I took off points from your guys?
Take away one of my players' points. I'm still over 100.
If last week I started Goodwin over Evans, I would have won too.
Actually, that's a good question. Why did you stick with Evans instead of going to Goodwin?
Because I think Evans is the better player.
Okay. I mean, you made the right decision, obviously. But okay. Yep. I mean, I think that shows
I gotta
patience.
go with who's the better player.
No, I think that shows.
I don't jump ship at the first sign of hardship, Dave. You gotta have faith in your guys, faith in your strategy.
I mean, there's another person on the other end that does feel the need to jump ship immediately.
Well, interesting enough, I was able to dig up in the archives. So the Christian McCaffrey, Delaney Walker went to you from Odwin's team, and you gave him Devontae Adams and Ricky Seals-Jones.
Oh, yeah. Who's a stud.
That doesn't ring of Shafto trade in any way?
No, Ricky Seals was rated higher than Delaney Walker last year.
In whose book?
I mean, last year, the rankings. Look, it doesn't matter now. I'm focused on this year. I'm looking towards the future. I already got my championship.
I know that. We all know that. Yes.
Yes.
Noted.
Look, I get it. I got a bullseye on my head. I'm the champion. Everybody's gunning at me. I want it. I like it. That's fine. Some people shy away from it. I want it. So I'm gearing up. I'll trade any one of my guys. I'll make any move that I think better my team. I'm week to week. So I take it 1 week at a time. If I think my guy had a bad week and I think he'll do better, I'll keep him in. Otherwise, I'd be swapping wives and girlfriends at the sign of every hot chick, right, Dave? So you got to have patience. You got to have faith in your guys.
Yes, exactly. I know.
Have faith. Be patient.
I do. That's why I rejected an offer for James Conner. Now, granted, it was an atrocious offer.
James Conner, you need to dump. He's trash. At the same time, you gotta admit when you made a mistake and move on.
He's going to.
I have an interesting question.
I actually think he's going to have a good week this week.
The majority of your trade offers was with Hackettstown's finest. Because it had anything to do with the fact that you're playing him this week?
No, he actually sent me most of them. I think I sent him a trade.
So you guys have been talking this entire time? That's amazing to me because the whole thing cut out on me. All right. Well, I don't know what we missed.
Yeah.
I mean, we got a lot of it, but so to the audience, I apologize. I'm sure we missed a bunch of interesting stuff. Always.
We're talking about Giza's trade.
Oh, okay.
I like the other coaches, the guest coaches' perspective on things.
I think I mean, I don't think it was like a ripoff, but I like it better for Hackettstown Finest.
Okay.
Really,
Dave, you disagree?
I think Le'Veon Bell is one of the better running backs in the league.
Have you seen his points production?
Yeah.
I think he has one touchdown in the season. Jets' offense is anemic. They don't do shit. They can't fucking get a first down in the game. So he gets all the carries on blowout games. They're probably, from what I heard on the radio today, they're going to start using him less. Like they shouldn't have been playing him against the Patriots in a 30-point blowout. You know?
Sure.
So he might get pulled because they don't want to burn him out this early in the season. Plus, he didn't play last year. So
yeah, but
I don't know. I just don't. I don't like anybody.
What has DeAndre Hopkins done, and certainly what has Gurley done? Nothing.
DeAndre Hopkins, again, those are two players on a low. Hopkins is elite. He's a top 3 wide receiver in the NFL. So there's like Julio, Hopkins. He used to be Antonio Brown. I don't know. I don't even know if you could put Beckham in that same
yeah, but 3 years ago,
anymore.
I mean, but 3 years ago, Hopkins didn't do anything.
Are you going back 3 years? That's the last. How did he do last year? How did he do the year before? We're talking about today. I'm not talking about 3 years ago.
Yeah, we're talking about today. He didn't do that well.
Look, I mean, Dave, you can't look at it on a 1 week basis. He had a good first week. His second and third week was bad. Second week was just okay. It wasn't like horrible. He's still an elite wide receiver. You got to look at it at a season perspective. The number's going to come back up. I don't like that. I think he got the better end of it. But look, I hope you guys both make it out all right.
Yeah, I mean, who knows? So let me ask you what it's like being in the shadow of Lombardi right now.
I'm happy for him. I'm the one that made it happen.
Aaron Jones turned it all around?
Yeah, I mean, he had no running backs at all. He thanks his lucky star. He's been buying me lunch for a week ever since this happened. he was on suicide watch. I felt bad for the guy.
I did too. Oh, I mean, do you have any perspective on any insight onto what happened there? Because we were complete. Yeah. Go ahead.
He's a bitch. He's a complainer. He's a guy that if something doesn't go his way, he'll bitch and moan and cry, and he throws a tantrum like a baby. So it's either I got to deal with it for like a whole season, or I just help him out and throw him a running back.
Is he the same way at work? Are you two still in the same firm?
Yeah, well, we're different firms, but in the same office. And I made fun of him for 2 days, and I felt bad for him. I'm like a Robin Hood in this league. I give back to the people. So I traded him a running back. Yeah.
I see.
Do you think his team? Do you think his team would be not as good without Aaron Jones? Do you think that he would still be in first place if he didn't make that deal?
He has a good team. He got lucky. The auto draft drafted him. Computer drafted him. Keenan Allen. He drafted Mahomes. Then he bid like crazy for Beckham, and then he completely burned out. And I think he has a good tight end too. I forget who his tight end is.
Andrews.
Yeah, he got lucky with that too.
No, the only two players that he actually drafted were Mahomes and Beckham.
Yeah.
And he complained to no end about Beckham.
Yeah, he had no running back, so he has Aaron Jones now, and I forget who the other one. So look, those would have been holes. He would have had zeros or whatever minimum points out of those, and that definitely helped him. Aaron Jones won in the second week. Aaron Jones had a monster second week. The first and third week sucked, and I think Kevin Coleman got injured in week 1.
And Evans won you the third week.
Yeah. So it's probably balanced out.
So I don't think you're that much of a Robin Hood, as much as you want to give yourself credit for that.
No, the first 2 weeks he killed me. But it wasn't just him. It was Cam Newton. It's Cam.
It's all Cam?
That killed me. Yeah, he fucking killed me.
I mean, because
He's
I'm
a
looking. All
cancer
right,
on my
25
team.
points. 25 points from Jones in week 2. He had a score of 167. So you take and then the Wakanda Panthers only had 126 that week. So he still would have won even without Jones. Because Mahomes had 39, Beckham had 28, Keenan Allen 17, 25 for Andrews. I mean, you know, he would have won even without that. Robin Hood,
Okay. What
Sheriff
about
of
first week?
Nottingham. What
Look,
other?
I helped the guy. He was on suicide watch. What do you want from me?
I appreciate that. Actually, the league was concerned. I believe that the Whalers expressed some concern on Facebook. Me and Geese were quite concerned about what was going on there. So yes, I do believe we owe you at least.
Yeah.
Not in terms of player gratitude, but in terms of taking him off suicide watch.
Now he's engaged. He's 3-0. I made him feel good. Listen, I do what I can.
What do you think about his team going forward? Do you think that?
I don't have it in front of me, but I think he had a good team. I take a look at it. With Andrews been playing lights out. Mahomes is unreal. I thought he was going to regress a little bit from his unreal season, but it doesn't look like it. And his worst player, I think, has been Beckham. Aside from week 2. So he's got a good team. There's a couple. There's another guy who I thought had a good team. I forget the owner's name, but there's a couple of good teams. The rest of them are sort of mediocre.
So Whalers is actually also 3-0. Do you think we have contended oftentimes on this program that the Whalers is the beneficiary of a very weak schedule?
Yes, I looked at his team. Remind me who's on this team right now.
Who's on the Whalers? Watson, Michael Thomas, Brandon Cooks, Joe Mixon, LaShawn McCoy, Zach Ertz, Tyler Lockett, and
Yeah. So McCoy's banged up. Mixon's trash. Watson. You said Thomas. Thomas is. I mean, they don't have Breeze anymore, so I don't think his team is that good. But
yeah. I mean, and just for the record, we looked at the point total. So the points for the Whalers is it's only 380.
Can I
but
interject a second? I have a question for Coach.
Yeah,
if you were to trade or look at the Monkeys roster, Dalvin Cook, who would you say from your team would be a fair trade for a Dalvin Cook from your lineup?
From my team?
Currently, yes.
It would have to be an elite receiver and then some, because Cook has been pretty good, which is, I think, what I offered him. Either a running back, obviously lower statue, or if you want to give another good receiver, that'd be a fair compensation.
Okay.
So last year when we talked to you, you happened to mention that, going back to Lombardi, you happened to mention that he was stuck on David Johnson because of the name and his rating system about this is an A1 player and and his stuff. Is he still stuck in that kind of mentality, or is he
I have no idea how he looks at things. He's a unique individual. He's one of a kind. I never knew anybody that could have such a hard time with drafting or having a simple clicking of a button. I didn't think it was that complicated.
Apparently it is. All right, so now looking at your team, though. Okay, so this is your roster. Your current, I mean, who knows? It changes moment to moment.
Yeah.
So, but your current roster, and by the time we air this, who knows? It could be different.
Yeah.
I'm sure you're getting ready to click the button to make a transaction already.
Yep.
So you have Brisket going. You have Thielen, Cooper. So do you feel confident in those? Because Cooper's been good.
Cooper's been solid. He's been an elite guy.
What about
He's probably
Thielen?
a top 5 wide receiver. Thielen has had a couple good weeks, and I think the second week he was so or shit.
Now,
but
okay. Now you clearly have problems at running back though. Chris Carson, I think he's fumbled 3 weeks in a row.
So he's had fumbling issues, but he's the starting running back on that team. He's actually been not that bad. I think his first week was great.
Yeah.
Second week was just average. Yeah, and the last week that fumble thing. I like Carson. I hope he doesn't
4
fumble.
points last week. And
no,
Jacobs?
I think it was more than that.
You think it was
Jacobs,
more?
he's been battling an illness. So the last 2 weeks he's been actually sick. He's been playing through it. But I really like Jacobs. I had him targeted all along in the draft. I was saving my money for him. He's the guy I had a second to third round grade on.
But you're not disappointed in his performance.
I knew he wasn't going to have a good week. I think they had a tough matchup this week, and he was sick.
Both of them were sick? Everybody's sick on your team?
No,
does your team
Jacob.
have
Just
mono?
Jacob. Just Jacobs was sick.
But Carson?
He was sick last year. No, Carson wasn't sick. He just fumbled.
Okay.
Hey,
he just sucked.
Can I interject for a second, Eugene? You mentioned earlier that Kelsey's been having an okay year, but you ranked Evans and Waller just slightly ahead of him performance-wise.
Not Evans. I didn't say Evans. I said Ingram.
Ingram. I'm sorry, Ingram. Ingram from the Giants. Who would you be willing to entertain in a deal potentially for one of those tight ends? Who do you think would be?
Are you
fair?
trying to negotiate on air right now?
I don't get. Yeah, I don't know what he's trying to do.
No, I'm just picking the coach's brain. Who would you consider equitable talent?
You don't have Kelsey, so this is a moot discussion. If you had Kelsey, or if you want to talk about one of your guys that you want to trade, I'm more than fine talking about that.
One of my guys is Evan Ingram.
Evan Ingram, I think, has had a better year. I think I still value Kelsey probably a little bit higher. I own Ingram in another league. Ingram is a good player. Especially with Shepard and Golden Tate being down, so he had more targets.
To the original question, who would you consider on equitable trade value level within Evan Ingram from your team?
You could go for a wide receiver, an elite wide receiver, something like that. I like Kelsey more than Ingram. I think he's in a much more high-powered offense. I like Ingram too. I think he's up there for me in the top 5. Mm-hmm. I own him in another league. Like a wide receiver. Like a good wide receiver for him.
What would you consider good? Like a C. Samuel or a C. Sutton?
I forget. No, you could do. I actually like Cortland Sutton a lot. If you look at his stats, he's been solid throughout the year. He just can't start on my team. Well, I mean, look. I got Thielen, Cooper, and Evans. Would you start him over any one of those guys?
Evans.
No way. No way. You're crazy. Me. How did that work out for you this week? If I started
How did it work out for you every other week? I mean, okay. So let me ask you this: if you weren't able to trade anymore, like let's say that nobody bid on any of your trade offers for the rest of the season, do you think that you could be a winning team? You think with this roster, you could?
Yes.
You know.
In fact, I won a championship last year in another league where I made no trades.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Wow.
I see.
So.
And do you? But with this, but rolling with this lineup, I mean, obviously you'd have to. I mean, you'd have to make.
I don't have. Dave, let's go through my lineup. Would you agree that I have 3 elite receivers?
I would agree that you have 1 elite-ish receiver and 1 should be elite receiver, but is actually been underperforming. But in a run-heavy offense, which would be Thielen. I think Cooper is
with these guys. 3 of those guys at draft time were top 10, 15 guys. Would you agree with that statement?
At draft time? Yeah. I mean, look,
yeah. Okay.
I also thought,
so there's three elite. Those are called top 12 guys are called wide receiver 1s. Arguably, 3 of those guys are wide receiver guns pre-draft.
Yeah, but you're fluid. You're water, man. I mean, like we're talking about now. I'm not talking about the draft. I mean that water has already been drank and pissed out into the toilet right now. I'm just talking about now.
Fair enough. And as of right now, if you look at the stats, I think they're still all up there. Cooper is probably a top 5, top 3 guy. Evans after this week, you can't look at it in 1 week. Somebody has a bad week and say, "Oh, he fucking sucks."
I can't
look because you got to look at it over a season, Dave. That's the whole team. Eventually, the numbers even out. That's why the projections are made over a season. Can't make them over 1 week.
Sure, but all right. I'll tell you this. Cooper, who I did absolutely want, and you outbid me. I think it got up to 40, and you outbid me. But, I mean, that's part of keeping the capital, which worked in your draft strategy. But, okay. He played the Giants the first week. You saw what the Giants did to Evan Ingram. He played Washington the second week. We saw what happened there. He played Miami the third week. I think his numbers
Who are you talking about? Who are you talking about? Cooper?
Cooper, yeah. I think he benefited. I think he's been benefiting from a very weak schedule.
Are you saying a weak schedule?
Yes.
I think he's a number one option on the Cowboys. So
he is.
I think they're a really good offense this year, and I think he's benefiting from that.
Okay.
Yeah, but wouldn't it be legitimate to say that the Dallas Cowboys in general are a run-heavy offense at their roots?
I'm sorry, repeat that?
Just saying that the Cowboys offense in general, at least traditionally, wouldn't you say that they're prone to be run-heavy, like when they get back to their roots? Or do you continue to see
Not
Cooper putting
anymore.
up these kind of numbers all season?
I don't see why not. I mean, look, I think he scored 2 touchdowns this week, right? I don't see him putting up 2 touchdowns every week, but I see him going around close to 100 and maybe a touchdown like every game or every other game. That's where I projected
I mean, to
him.
your defense, he scored a touchdown in every game so far. So all 3 weeks he does. He has found the end zone.
I am. Yeah, and I'm not projecting for a touchdown every week. I'm projecting for maybe 10 to 12 on the year.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and now Mike Evans,
which is still a lead guy. He's like Mike Evans. I view him as 12 to 1,400 yards, 8 to 10 touchdowns, which is an elite wide receiver one. Those are elite wide receiver one numbers.
Yeah, but if they're all combined into like 1 or 2 games, I don't, like, all right, they're going to give you these massive games, but I just think over the course of the season,
they're not going to combine it. First of all, if you have a guy that could bust like that can win you a week, you want a guy like that because he's a weak winner. So if you have a guy that explodes like that, he can be. Evans has traditionally been a consistent guy.
Has he? Hagglers?
Well,
he has. I mean, look at the last 8 games of the season last year. He dominated. He balled out every single one of it. He had a slow start to the season, and then he had. If you look at last week, he took over that game. He should have won in that game had the guy not missed an extra kick. A field goal. It was like a 25-yard field goal that
I know
he missed. He should have won him the week.
Yeah.
And Jenkins on the Giants is considered a good cornerback. He made him look silly.
I mean, if we're having this conversation a week before when he had only 10 points and 4 points, I think Evans.
Guys,
why are you trying to sell him so hard then? Is it because you believe in Cortland Sutton?
Cortland Sutton is a good player. Look at Cortland Sutton's stats.
I'm sure, but I'm saying I mean, this guy that's so elite. I mean, why are you trying to sell him, package him up in a 2-person deal?
I'll tell you why. Because I have a plethora of talent. My team is deep, but you don't have those. I have 3 elite superstars. My running backs, I consider average.
Okay.
They're not elite. So I'm trying to get better at running back, quarterback, which I think I've done, like benching Cam, and upgrade in tight end. So if I have good wide receivers behind me, and Godwin, Sutton, I forget who else I have. I think average to maybe, I think Jacobs is above average. I think as the year goes on, I think he's going to get better. Yeah, I think he's going to get better and better.
24 points the first week, impressive. After that, against KC, 9.9, 4.4 against Minnesota. So you think, okay.
Again, read up on him. He was sick. He didn't practice all week. He played, and they still gave him 24 carries. He's gonna start catching more balls in an offense. They don't have Antonio Brown. Waller and Williams are the only options there. He's going to be a big part of that offense. Watch.
Okay. So then you don't need to.
I don't dump guys after 2 weeks.
So the first couple of weeks you were peddling David Montgomery to everybody. I see that those offers have cooled down. What's your thoughts on Montgomery now in the Bears? David Montgomery, the Bears.
What's up?
The Bears running back. You were peppering
Hello?
people with deals for him. What's your feelings on him now?
Yeah, I saw. So I'll tell you, I don't like the way Nagy's been using him. He's clearly the best running back on the team. He's had a couple of tough matchups. Green Bay, who's in a great defense, so that was the first game of the season, and they were trying to split carries between. He's the best running back on the team. If you look through the carries, breakdown between him and I forget who the other fucking running back on the team is.
Mike
they've
Davis
been increasing every single week. Yeah, they suck. Tariq Cohen, who they bring on third down. Montgomery is a pass-catching back. They drafted him in the second round to be that three-down guy. He's been getting better. I'm telling you, if you've had tough matchups, he will be better. I actually like him. If in a deeper stash or a dynasty league, he's a good player.
Okay.
I thought he'd be a little bit better, and I thought they would use him a little bit better than they have been.
Uh-huh.
Is there anybody in your team?
Is he one up straight up for Dalvin Cook worthy, or he's not ready yet for that?
He is not Dalvin Cook worthy. Dalvin Cook is a superior player.
Okay. So also, is there anybody on your team that is just, get rid of worthy? Like
there's a few guys. Like I hated Cam. That was I didn't realize he was going to be hurt. I think they hid that injury, and I think he started playing the season hurt. I forget what there was a news today that he had it was like a Liz Frank injury or something like that, which is like really serious.
Right.
So that could have been user information that they shared.
Is that where you got that from?
No, I heard it somewhere else.
Okay. So you had the whole thing about it.
So I had no idea he was hurt. I thought he'd be running more. He wasn't. So he killed 2 games for me. My tight end didn't pan out. I thought Vance McDonald would be better. I thought, who else did I draft? I sort of slept on tight end late because I was trying to save my money on running backs and wide receivers.
Miles Sanders?
No, I like Miles Sanders. I think also he's eventually going to be the best back. And it's a guy you stash early in the season who I think will break out late.
I don't know.
So he's like a Montgomery for me.
Yeah, I don't disagree with that necessarily. Okay. Do you read Defensive Digest? What? Obviously I'm being facetious, but do you stream your defense, or you just, because you have Minnesota's defense, you just pretty much go with them?
I have Minnesota, who are okay. I do stream defense depending on the league I have. If I have a good one, or Minnesota's good, so depending on matchups, I'll stream.
And how much, I mean, obviously I'd love to know your sources, but I mean, I don't need to know that. But
I love how this has become pick my brain hour. Everybody's picking up my strategy.
That's not. This is Meet the Coach. This is all about you.
Yeah,
exactly.
This is Meet the Coach. It's like you're talking about to Parcells or Belichick. I'm fine. I'll tell you all my trade secrets.
This is
We're
a new
not
segment.
asking for trade secrets. We're just saying Meet the Coach.
I mean, this is a new segment that we're trying out on the show. We're going to try to get all the coaches on just to pick their brains, and we'll be happy. I mean, wouldn't it be nice to actually hear Gaten Casimir's voice? Nobody even knows what it sounds like. I think that it would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Meet some of these players in the league. What?
Anytime.
I know.
Anytime. What was the question you were going to ask me?
Yeah, but so I mean, how many different sources do you go to? Not to know the actual sources, but what is your normal process in a week preparing for a game?
I listen to radio. I listen to podcasts. I read up on news and injury stuff. So take the train every day. So I get an hour, and I'm in court almost every single day. So as I'm commuting, I'll listen to podcast or streaming stuff. I'll ESPN, Roto, all that stuff. So I'll just read information.
Yeah.
I'm always trying to get better, Dave.
As am I, as somebody who sits in his office, watching. I mean, so is it more fantasy focused? Because I'll watch ESPN fantasy, whatever, the Matthew Berry show. But to be honest with you, I watch that mostly to find out what everybody else is listening to, not because I'm using it for my own information. But I'm kind of curious to see what other people are thinking.
I tell you, I actually disagree with a lot of those guys on ESPN. Some of them have good points. But those guys they're homers, and I feel like they say the same shit. A lot of those guys, if you listen to like other podcasts and stuff, they're just better.
No,
I don't know.
I absolutely agree, and I think that, but I do think that they're like some of the teams in the league listen to them, so it kind of gives you an idea of who they're targeting, because I think that a lot of people focus on them. But I agree with you. I think that their picks are usually pretty bad. And like I said, I also like to listen to Rich Eisen just because I find him entertaining. I don't think he's necessarily that great for like information about.
I don't listen to Rich Eisen, but like I follow him like on Instagram, and occasionally there'll be like a point here and there.
Yeah, I know. I mean, he's not that great. He's just entertaining. And then who else?
Yeah.
I don't even know. He's also
There's a lot
Jets
of
fan,
guys
so-
that are entertaining. There's a lot of guys that are entertaining, but you have to like sort of sift through the weeds to find out like all the information is out there for everybody. So the question is, how aggressive do you want to be on some of this stuff, and what kind of moves you really have to believe in the player.
True.
To get to bid $60 to blow your fab budget on one player, you got to believe in him on a waiver over like for other guys that are out there, and how early in the season do you trust them? Like I'm sure guys this week, not in our league because I think Gallman's taken by somebody, are going to bid on Gallman, right?
Yeah.
Barkley's hurt, people are going to bid on him. So what percentage of your fab do you want to blow on him? I personally don't think Gallman's a good player.
I don't either.
And I think so. I wouldn't blow a third of my budget on him, but he's going to be the primary back in the Giants with a quarterback who had a good game. So I'm sure a lot of people are going to bid a lot of money on him.
You think a lot of people are going to bid on Brown?
Which Brown?
Sorry, I'm thinking Dave Brown. Jones, sorry, Dave. Sorry, I get them confused. They're both from the same schools and everything else.
What?
Sorry, Jones. Sorry, the quarterback of the Giants, the new quarterback of the Giants. Jones.
I'm not a big believer. Look, I'm a Giant fan. I think he had a good week, but the Giants still don't have a lot of offense. I mean, their offensive line is better, but not that much better. They lost their best offensive weapon in Barkley. I don't know. I wouldn't blow my fab budget on him. But look,
I wouldn't either. I mean, like,
people could do whatever they want. There's a lot of other options available. You could stream quarterbacks and get the quarterback who plays Miami every week, Somebody's available. I'll take that guy over Brady any day of the week just so because it's a better matchup.
I mean, yeah. I mean, obviously, I didn't make that choice,
look,
and that would have been nice if I did. Yeah, I mean, that's true. If they're available. I mean, they're not always available, but yeah. No, I mean, that's true. And look, it would have been interesting to see what the Gallman bidding would have been like in our league. I think it would have been astronomical, but I mean, Odwin was smart enough to keep his handcuff, so,
Yeah, no, that was actually a smart move. I looked to see, like, if he was around. I was like, what, somebody owns him in our league? I was like, oh, fucking more Dave shenanigans. And then I was like, oh, he has him as a handcuff. So
I like how you instantaneously think that it's Dave.
Or lucky.
Yeah, I was talking to Geese about this. Why do I'm just curious why am I considered the guy who, no matter what I do, it doesn't matter.
Shafts everybody?
Why is there this perception out there that I'm the shafter? Is it left over from the Forte deal, which by the way was offered to me? But I'm just curious. Everything I do.
I don't know anything about the Forte deal.
Sure.
The problem is, Dave, you're shady. That's the vibe you give out.
That's the vibe I give out. Interesting.
So, I trust you. I wouldn't trust you with my kids, but so it's like a guy you shake
I don't
a
trust
hand
kids,
with.
And I don't like kids, but that's fine.
If I speak for the league when I say if somebody shakes your hand, they take it back and hope to see that their watch is still on. So, look, actions speak louder than words.
So what
your actions and it's just shady.
What is shady? I mean, because I'm talking to the guy who I think is shady, so I'm just curious. What makes me shady?
Look, I've been anything but above board. I've been on this podcast with you guys. Geese is losing it.
Check to see if your watch is still on.
I mean, what have I done that's ever
Dude,
been shady?
so
I'll tell you. I'll tell you what I have.
You acknowledge your reputation. Just own it. Just own it.
I acknowledge
the sooner you embrace it, the sooner just
yes,
to thine own self be true.
I acknowledge a certain Dr. Evil-esque reputation that is well earned. But what I don't think that I am that I deserve is being, having conspiracy theories thrown at me by your colleague, thinking that I have some kind of insider information that I'm using, like that gets somehow sent to me. I mean, the same accusation was hurled at the commissioner, who, by the way, has titled himself the Crooked Commissioner, but nonetheless, I mean, like, what? I mean, it didn't even make sense. His conspiracy theory didn't even make sense. Geese would have bid $1 over the player if he had insider information. He wouldn't have bid $60 for Hawkinson if this was available. But go ahead.
So, I don't want to speak for Lombardi.
Sure.
But he's not here on this podcast because he's storming Area 51. He's a guy. He's a guy that believes in conspiracy theories. Okay. Some of us don't. But listen, sometimes I, egg him on a little bit. But I told you, you have a certain reputation as being somebody who's a shady character. You're like a oil salesman. You're like a slick, Rico Suave guy, with a gold chain who walks around and, you don't feel safe exactly around him. You're a used car salesman, Dave.
How am I a used car? You're literally peddling. You're peddling broken lemons to players in this league. Sorry, what?
I didn't start these rumors, Dave. I'm just telling you what it is. The whole league knows it. I'm just here. You wouldn't have asked me that question if you already don't know.
Offered or offering have become known as Shafto trades. Do you think that?
Well, I feel like. See, I'll tell you, because Dave, as Trump as he is, he's a master manipulator. He's a brander like Trump. It's lying Ted. It's Shafto Eugene. Same thing. So this is what he does. It's fine.
So you feel like you've been unfairly labeled as a Shafto
So Dave, the slick car salesman that he is, does this. That's why he gets the reputation that he gets.
Interesting. So interesting. So you can't point to deals, but you could point to
you're a brander. Look, you're a good brander. You're like Trump. Look, some people don't want to be associated with him. I feel like you own up to it. You know your reputation. You know what's going on, what everybody's saying behind your back. So just own up to it.
I mean, look, I actually don't think that's I don't think that's a bad assessment. I'm not going to disagree with you there. I think the one thing I will say is I don't think that I'm a used car salesman peddling things, but I will absolutely I do take credit for being a master manipulator. I mean, I'm Dr. Evil. I know. It's just interesting how it's filtered down, because I don't think I don't think that you could point to, because I'm such a master manipulator that you can't actually, counselor, point to any evidence.
Look, you manipulate weaker minds. You can't manipulate me, but some other people. So what Trump does is he preys on the less intelligent.
Sure.
So it's very similar to your actions.
Okay.
I'm sure in the background, I think I hear Fox News going on right now, but it's fine. Who's that, Hannity? You're like Roger Ailes, like petting a cat right now. I can't. It's fine. I don't care. Look, it doesn't work on me, but it might work on somebody else. So it's fine. Brand away.
So for the record, your Shafto trade moniker has been it's
Dave. I mean, it's
dubbed Shafto Trader. Your trades have been equitable up to this point.
You're saying that it's the crooked Hillary of the league. You're saying that I've crooked Hillaried you.
That's exactly what it is. You Crooked Hillary, Lying Ted, or any other nickname, Shafto Eugene. You branded me. I feel like now I have a scarlet letter on me.
Okay.
I mean, if this was a regular, normal occurrence, I could sue you for defamation. I'm not going to do that. You've defamed my character.
So you're a victim
my
of
integrity.
circumstance, and you haven't actively seek to shaft anybody in any trading.
Look, this is fantasy football. Everybody looks to gain an advantage. I get that. And that's what I make trades that benefit me, just like all the other owners propose trades that benefit them, or think they benefit them. Because I think that if there's any trade, if you think that doesn't help your team, then you're doing a disservice to your team. Are we not all in it to win it?
Of course.
But some of your trades have been viewed as especially inequitable for the receiving team.
Look, I don't want to. Just because Dave views it as inequitable, and he goes screaming from the mountaintops that Eugene's a shafter. I mean, we did this last year.
Look at the emails. Lombardi, if you're listening, can you please get the Shafto trade files?
You even post that. Did you post that on Facebook with the Shafto?
Oh, look, yeah. I posted Shaft.
Yeah, so you ignite the flame. You're trying to stoke it. You're a master manipulator.
I love it.
You're Trump.
I love it.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
It's fine. I don't care.
It's fantastic. We're the greatest.
Yeah. You're gonna make fantasy football great again. It's all good.
I
know.
There's going to be so much winning. You're going to get tired of winning.
If the only thing your team would do is just start winning, that's the thing with you. You only talk about how you're going to start winning, but you don't actually win, as evidenced by this week.
I knew that was coming. I was just waiting for it.
So, sadly, Mexico didn't pay for the wall. Now you're in a dilemma.
The wall is already up. We already won this game. I don't know what you're talking about. Half the wall has been built. We won.
Yeah.
It's fake news. The standings are lying. Don't know what you're talking about. Lying Ted. Lying Eugene.
If you lost, it's clearly fixed. The elections are fixed.
Yeah, it's fixed. It's fixed. The game is fixed.
I'm sure you're dealing with the president of the Ukraine about your opponent next week.
Exactly. Who's my opponents? Oh, it's the Monkeys. Yeah. I'm going to talk to the president of the Monkeys, and whatever.
Look, Dave, the sooner you own up to your reputation and your manipulative ways, the sooner the league will start seeing you for what you are. Right now, you're manipulating them. It's fine. I view it as entertainment. Some people watch Fox News for entertainment. There's no news on there. It's it's for entertainment value. So I listen to the podcast for entertainment value. I don't get my news. I don't get my fantasy news from there.
No.
I don't get my fantasy news from there. So to me, it's entertainment.
Is Geese Megyn Kelly? Who's he? I'm just curious.
Who's what?
Is Geese Megyn Kelly or what?
No, Geese is like the best.
What?
He's like the best hype man. You say something, and he's a hype man.
Explain to me what exactly is a hype man?
Is he Sarah Huckabee Sanders? Is he my Sanders?
No.
Sanders? Hannity. He's my Hannity. He's got to be my Hannity then.
No, explain to me. What's the function of a hype man?
Yeah. Have you ever watched Sandlot?
Yeah.
Remember that guy in Sandlot who would only say, yeah?
Yeah.
That's what Geese is. So Dave would say something, and yeah would say, yeah.
I don't know if I ever said Dave.
So it's just like, he just piggybacks on it. Dave would get riled up on one of his crazy branding ideas, and Geese just comes over the top and, and stokes the flame,
That's all I do?
Yeah. There's a lot of times if you listen to your old podcast, Dave, because I do a study of these things, like you would ask Geese a question and there'd be silence and he goes, Yeah. Okay.
Was it player related or policy related? Because I think a lot of that's
I don't
player
know.
related.
I don't know what it happens frequently.
Of course.
See the
It
interesting.
happens frequently.
So when you talk about my personal quote unquote manipulation, I have either branded myself personally as Dr. Evil or the Emperor, and Geese is my Darth Vader. That would have been a good.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's the one who carries it out.
Like, you didn't hear it from me, but word on the street is you're running a puppet regime through Geese as the commissioner of the league. That's the word on the street. So Geese is the fall guy for your
fall guy
for my criminal enterprise.
No.
Yeah.
And what does Dave gain from this crooked enterprise with no championship?
He maintains plausible deniability. You know, he could say, "Oh, that wasn't me. The commissioner knew this." So he has that one layer removed from any Shafto. You know, when he steals your watch, he's got at least some argument to say, well, it wasn't me. I don't make the rules around here. Look to the commish, who says, yeah, I make the rules.
And who are you in this? In this?
He's Robin Hood. He's already.
Oh yes, you're Robin Hood. I'm sorry, you're Robin Hood.
Look, I'm just a citizen trying to get by in this crazy world.
I wasn't sure how I was viewed in the league overall.
Yeah. I didn't start this. I just said the word on the street.
Okay, and the word on the street. So, and then Lombardi, he's the guy in the tinfoil hat. We know this, right?
Yeah.
Anybody else? Odwin. What's Odwin in the league?
Odwin, Mr. Regular Guy.
He's just a
hardworking American.
Hardworking American.
Hardworking Wakandan. Nick? What is he?
Don't know. I can't speak to anybody else.
The LB? You're not considering the LB? All right.
But Nick, you shafted Nick for Ezekiel Elliott. You don't have any opinion of him at all?
Again, not a shaft. That's your branding again. You're so brainwashed into everything saying it's like anything having to do with me because Dave put it into your head. You don't even realize
you're just Robin Hood helping
yourself. You don't even realize you're doing it.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something. Looking back on last year's run, do you owe pretty much your whole championship to those two trades?
I mean, they helped. I mean, I gave up good guys for him.
Helped. It was your whole team.
You know, I did have Devontae Adams on my team, and I forget who I traded for Zeke.
Javarius Allen and Keenan Allen.
Javarius Allen, I forgot, yeah.
Yeah, so I had Devontae Adams, Keenan Allen, and I think I had another good wide receiver.
You had Javarius Allen and Ricky Seals-Jones prior to those trades.
Yeah.
I don't think you would have made a championship run.
Those guys were good enough to get me Zeke.
So
clearly they were
talk about
good enough for someone.
Weak-minded?
I never called anyone weak-minded. Again, that's you guys trying to spin. It's a spin room.
It's a spin room. I forgot.
So yeah, but you're obviously an admirer, being that you've named your team after me. You're obsessed with me. You're like I don't know, a Trump. Are you the Hannity? I mean, your entire organization is named after me.
First of all, how do you know that that's what it is? It could be another Dave. Okay?
Another Dave?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's Dave's secret crush. Dave has a secret crush on somebody. That's the name of the team.
A mysterious Dave.
A mysterious Dave? You don't know who that Dave is.
Yeah, okay.
Could be anyone.
Could be any Dave.
Any Dave.
And
would you say the same thing because Hackenstown finest is obsessed with gays?
Yeah, I would.
Okay.
I would say that it's his entry into the league, and he's trying to mock his the one person that he knew that wasn't into the league.
Okay.
Are you? I'm surprised my face isn't on your helmet, but I mean, I guess it's not me. That other Dave, the Dave that actually is.
The other Dave.
The other Dave.
So, are you done trading with Hackettstown's finest? Are those offers over?
I am never done trading. I'm always for moves to get better. Now that you gave him 2 elite guys, my road to victory got harder. So thanks for that.
I see.
I'm sure Dave didn't manipulate that trade. That was an auto accept immediately.
Which one?
Jesus trade with Hackettstown finest.
For Le'Veon Bell?
Le'Veon Bell for Gurley and Hopkins.
I was actually impressed with that trade, but
yeah, I'm sure you didn't.
I had nothing to do with it.
Oh yeah, the mastermind behind it. Here we go. You had nothing to do with it.
I'm the guy who lost to Geese in the championship, mind you. Like, if I was manipulating this guy,
Yeah. We all know who the money went to.
So this is all just a clever money-making scheme. Where's your tinfoil hat?
One of you is partying in California, going to TMZ, dining with celebrities, while the other one lives in Hackettstown.
So,
Yeah, that's actually correct.
I mean, I'm not dining with celebrities, but sure.
Look, Geese is smitten with your lifestyle. You're out there, Hollywood. You're branding people left and right. I get it. He's just a poor farmer boy from a next town, lost in a big city, and you brainwash him.
So he's one of the weak-minded people in the league, though, you're saying.
I didn't say he's weak-minded.
Oh, not in some of yours.
But I wouldn't insult him the way you did. I wouldn't talk to you like that, Geese.
I can already feel the Eugene Robin Hood vibe in the room. Standing up for the downtrodden.
Look, I
now
can't.
Give me Le'Veon Bell.
I can't. I can't stand by and watch Dave dismantle this league, one league owner at a time. The way he talks down to people, I mean, I'm not going to say it's un-American, but it's just not civil.
It's You're not going to say it's un-American? Look at who the president is. Talking down to people is what we do.
Dave.
But I am him, apparently.
You're him-ish.
I'm him-ish. Right.
Yeah.
With better hair.
Arguably. You have similar hair, now that I think about it.
I mean, probably in actuality we do. If I were to grow it out, that's what I would grow out, I think. Yeah. Okay.
Look, it's been fun.
It has been.
I like the meet the coach segment. I don't know. I'm playing finest this week. You guys have colluded to trade all your elite players to finest.
I see. Yeah.
I hope my team prevails, and my team always takes it as me against the world attitude.
Robin Hood.
No, I give back to the league.
Yo, you give back to them, all right.
Yeah. Look at the spin room. Here it is.
You
all
give
over.
it to them in the back.
Have you thought about working for any of the Democratic candidates to maybe defeat Trump? I mean, because you've just, I mean, you've actually trumped Trump right now, at least in terms of your thing. You went at him and attacked him, me, trying to. I mean, don't worry, I'm still gonna, point out every one of your Shafto trades, but there's gonna be you let out the air a little bit out of it. Don't worry.
Dave, you don't point anything out because you have a very you're very reactionary. You look at somebody having a bad week and think, oh, they're gonna have a bad week forever. You look at somebody having a good week and say, oh, the other guy sucks. Hopkins, just because he has a bad week doesn't mean he sucks. Ezekiel Elliott, who had 2-3 weeks, was a Schefter trade who was terrible. I traded him guys who were playing out of their minds at the time, and that becomes a Schefter trade. Devontae Adams for McCaffrey, who was a number one wide receiver, and another player for McCaffrey is not a Schefter trade. At the time, McCaffrey was just average, and Devontae finished as the number one wide receiver in the league. So stop branding it as a Schefter trade. It's not.
The other
We went through this already.
Jones. Where do you?
Yeah, who was a starting tight end at the time, and he was average.
Yeah.
So you have the number one wide receiver in the league and an average tight end when he had none.
Totally possible. All right, well, to wrap it up, did either you or any of your parents kill Kennedy?
No. But I like the reference, though.
Okay.
But I did see someone in the grassy knoll.
Did you? Okay. All right. Well, anything else you want to add before we go? This has been... First of all, I would like to thank you for coming on the program.
Yes, thank you.
I don't think that we could have started off this segment with any better an interview.
Well, we start off with the champion. We should start at the top.
One, you start off with the champion, and two, Ringling Brothers, Barnum and Bailey, Dave's secret crush over there. I think. I mean, are you going to put a logo on your team finally? Can we see some kind of logo, some design there?
That's too technologically advanced for me.
Really, you can't.
I would need help.
You would need help.
I don't. Yeah,
but you can tell the difference. You can tell the difference between a 3 and a 6, though. So you are at least that technologically advanced.
I didn't get that reference.
You didn't get that reference?
Oh, you mean for Lombardi's bidding? I got it now.
Yeah. Okay.
First of all, who in their right mind actually bids by numbers and not just increases by 1? Why would you want to bid $20 extra? Like, if somebody's bidding, it starts off with bidding at $1. Why would you bid 30 or 60? It just doesn't make any sense in a league when there's like bets going every half a second.
I know.
Why would you want to put that out? It doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense to me either. None of it made any sense to me.
Yeah.
I mean, we were completely thrown off guard when he called. We had no idea.
He's like, oh, sorry, let me do a take back. Let's take the last 5 guys and start the draft over again.
And then he was screaming at us to how do you not know how to stop this and whatever else? And we're like, this never even.
How do you not know how to enter buttons?
Exactly.
But I calmed him down. He's in first place now. I bought the league some.
He'll have a chance to answer all these, questions.
Oh God.
Yes, we look forward to him in his tinfoil hat.
Oh God. The conspiracy theories.
Yes, and of course talking in the third person because we know how he loves to do that when he comes for an interview. All right. Well, thank you so much for your time. Good luck this week against Hackettstown's finest, and for the rest of the season. And hopefully, we'll have you back again on the program. And my condolences for dismantling you this week. It was not my intention. I always want to beat you by 1. It could have been it must have been embarrassing. But look, there's always next week. Always next week. Congratulations on your win. Good game. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Dave. Thank you, Geese. Good speaking to you guys as always. Yep. I'll see you guys later. Later. Bye. Oh, Eugene. Always entertaining, endlessly entertaining. All right, so I'd like to thank him for joining us this week. Hopefully next week we'll see who we can get on the program. Whoever's interested, please get in touch with us. Otherwise, we'll be trying to get in touch with you. Nonetheless, we are going to continue the program where we go over next week's games, make our predictions. So we'll be right back right after this. Now's the time to get yourself Geritol. My name's Frank Gore.
from Coconut Grove, Florida. I've been born and raised in Miami. I've been in the league going on 15 years now.
I used to think I was too young for Geritol. Well, I'm not. And neither are you. Now's the time to get yourself Geritol. I start every morning with a Geritol tablet, so I'm sure I'm getting enough iron and the important vitamins I need.
Geritol, America's #1 iron and vitamin supplement. Don't wait for someday. Geritol is for now.
Now's the time to get yourself Geritol. And take it every day.
Welcome back. So now everybody has heard what Eugene has said. So now you have context of it. I mean, of course, Manny actually doesn't in terms of the recording of this, but, you know, for the audience, when he's listening to this tomorrow, this 4 to 5 hour podcast, he will get the context of what's going on. Okay, so that moves us to the standings. And, yeah, so there's 2 3-0 teams. It's the Blues and the Whalers. I think so here's the fascinating thing. So the Blues have actually put up 421 points. So they at least, points-wise, deserve to be up there. The Whalers only put up 380. And in terms of points against, the Whalers, they've had the second lowest points against. They have 352 points against them. The Lions, the Zamunda Lions, are the second lowest points against at 350. If you look at the most points against, that's 452 for the Wakanda Panthers. So 100 in 3 weeks, there's been 100 more points scored on Wakanda than there has been on the Whalers, and he's suffered all those injuries. The second most points against are the 1603ers, who had 432, as opposed to the Whalers, 352. So yeah, I still think that scheduling has to do with this, but I do think that he's improved his team, and I think that he actually might be the better of the 3-0 teams, even though it doesn't show in record right now. But I do think he's benefited from. I don't think he would be in this position had he not had the weak schedule at the beginning of the season.
Should we start keeping track of Cyberdyne's points, like in parentheses? Of those 421, I think Lombardi's responsible for like 115. I don't have the actual number in front of me. I'll probably have to put it up for everyone next week.
Well, yeah,
I think we'll start.
I think you should prepare it for next week. Okay, so then moving on to there's only 2 2-1 teams, and there almost wasn't had it not been for that Eckler carry at the end of the week. But there are 2 2-1 teams. The Tillett team in third place with 403 points, followed by Hackettstown's Finest with 392. Honestly, you were going to be, you would have probably been ahead in this had, based on the first 2 weeks, but, you know, you had a poor offensive performance in week 3. But, I mean, it looked like you were scoring, like, a lot of points for the beginning half.
I was. But I'll take the win. The wins are more important than the scores.
As the fifth place team can absolutely attest, as they are the start of the 1 and 2 teams. Everybody else, so that's it. So 2 3-0 teams, 2 2-1 teams, and then literally everybody else is 1 and 2. Everybody from 5 through 12, 1 and 2, and the only difference is point totals. And as I mentioned, the 1603ers have the highest point total, the most points in the league at 435.02. Followed by Wakanda, only 4 points behind with 431.38. Honestly, I mean, I can't even imagine what Wakanda's point total would be if their players didn't get injured. I mean, this is ridiculous. Because the next drop, all right, so then you're at the 400 plateau. Then you move down. The next highest point total is the Lightning Rods with 379. I mean, he's 20 points just from the 400s, let alone the extra 30 that you have to get within the 400. So, yeah. Nick and Jamie followed up with 375. The Monkeys at 374. Then the Hagglers down at 10 at 352 points. And rounding it out is the Zamunda Lions 339. And even with the Mike Evans 45 points, only 321 for Dave's Secret Crush. So he remains in last place, though it's a 1 and 2 last place instead of an 0-3 last place. So, yeah. That's your standings for this week. Anything that you want to comment about that? I mean, the parity in the league is astounding. First of all, I've never seen the teams that have the highest point total be so low. I mean, I think the closest might have been the Lightning Rods a few years ago, where they had a really high point total and were still losing. And I've never seen just everybody at 1 and 2.
Crazy. Everyone's in the hunt for the playoffs.
True.
And also, so now nobody's gonna. So we still have 2 undefeated teams, but yeah, we're not gonna. There's not gonna be a 2016 Cleveland Browns or 2007. Is that what it was? Detroit Lions in this league. So at least everybody's gonna get $5 back. So that's something to hang your hats on. Okay.
So Geza, what is the what is the winner, or like how do you allocate the payments? The first place gets how much, and the second place gets what?
I think it's easier to just 100 for the second place team, 65 for the third place team.
Okay.
Everybody gets $5 back per win that they get, and then whatever's remaining, I don't remember what the math is. It goes to the
Does the point total, like, do you get any money if you're the highest point? You have the highest point total?
Nope. All that matters is wins.
Wins.
So Eckler just earned you $5.
Okay. for a 4-yard carry.
Exactly.
Okay.
Okay. So now moving forward, looking at next week's games. Now that all the transactions have happened and whatnot, where do we want to move first on our crystal 8-ball? Is that what it is? It's not. No, an 8-ball is something completely different. What is it? Maybe a crystal 8-ball that you need to stay awake for this 12-hour podcast. What do you? Go ahead.
Yeah, we'll let Hackettstown's finest decide. Where do you want to begin this mess?
I would like to analyze my game because I will be very upset if I don't beat Eugene this week.
I see. Okay.
Okay. Well, yeah.
This is a very important game for me, considering of all the trade offers he's been giving me. So I want to prove that my roster is better than his.
That's very interesting. Also, that he's trying to trade with you on a week that he plays you. I tend to stay very far away from any team.
Well, he probably is scared of my team. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. Which is why he's only trying to go for guys that are available right now. Also, just to the earlier point, how long is the flight to Switzerland?
It's about 8 hours, but I stopped in Iceland, so it was a couple-hour layover. So it was about 11 hours altogether.
Okay, so you basically could have, checked in, started listening to the podcast, and by the time you land in Switzerland and get back to your hotel, we'd almost be wrapping up. All right, so moving on to this game between the Hackettstown finest, 137 projected points to Dave's Secret Crush, 119.95. So you are a 63% favorite in this game. Looking at this, Aaron Rodgers is playing Philadelphia, projected to get 26.9 points. Well, actually, since we're, just to cut it down for time slightly, what stands out in these matchups for you? Rather than going over every single nook and cranny.
I think I am a good favorite. I like my matchup. I like that I have a couple players playing Miami. That always helps. And I think Eugene has some tough matchups, like Thielen against Chicago. Mike Evans against the Rams at the Rams, so that's tough.
Yeah, Jacobs and Carson in the NFL.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's Eckler, I think, is going to have a great day. Gurley against Tampa Bay looks good. I mean, I'm very...
Do you think that Gurley against Tampa Bay looks good? Because Tampa Bay, as whatever they've been, they have shut down running backs like nobody's business.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, the Rams are just a very good team, and I think maybe Tampa Bay was good against Carolina, and they played the Giants last week, who, even though Saquon is good, they're just not a very good team. Yeah, so I think they're going to struggle against the Rams playing in LA. They have to travel across the country. So, I'm confident.
I live out here. It's not that bad to get out here. It's fine. And Rams fans don't care. We don't. We'll care when we get to the Super Bowl, but and then everybody will have been a Rams fan since 1932. But yeah. I mean, we have a new stadium, I think, or something.
Oh yeah, Chargers and the Rams.
Well, no, they're gonna get a new stadium, but I'm saying I think they even improved the Coliseum because it was a.
Oh really?
I haven't been to it since it's happened, but it was a real crap hole before that. I think it's like United Airlines something. So I don't know, whatever.
They had no attendance last year, which was weird considering how good they were.
Yeah, that's LA for you.
Bizarre.
I know. That's not bizarre. Trust me, it's not. Though it is nice to be able to go get 50-yard line seats for $20.
True.
So yeah, I mean, so okay. So your flex right now is Malcolm Brown. So you're not making the same mistake of playing the flex early, so that's good. That's always a good sign. Mike Evans, I don't think that he does the same thing. I think he comes completely down to earth. Cooper might have a good game because he's playing New Orleans. Thielen has a tough game. Brisket against Oakland, he might be okay. You have a Thursday night with Rodgers, so you'll actually know things pretty early. And like I said, Carson is just garbage. I mean, he's fumbled, I think, each of the last 3 games.
Last 3 carries, he had 2 fumbles or something.
I don't even know how long he's going to be in there. I mean, I think they're waiting on Rashard Penny or whatever his name is. And Jacobs, I mean, I don't know, whatever. He loves him. He picked himself up Witten, who's actually had a good season so far, but I think a lot of that is on the backs of touchdowns. Let's see. He only had 8.4 points last week, so no touchdown. But the week before that, he had a touchdown, and the week before that, he had a touchdown. So, I don't know. I mean, he's okay. He's better than McDonald. But I don't know.
Yes. Yeah.
Notice how people are conspicuously missing from the Eugene starting lineup week to week. Shafto trade candidates such as Montgomery, Godwin, and Samuel never happen to crack the starting lineup.
Yeah, it's interesting. Yet they're
routinely offered to other teams as equitable. I love to see any of those players sniff the field for Eugene. Routinely trotted out for other teams' elite players.
He is very protective of Thielen, Cooper, and Evans. He loves those guys. He will not give them up unless you give him something, one of the best running backs in the league.
I think you could have just ended it. He will not give them up.
He will not. But, I mean, to me, they're not – I mean, they're good, but they're not great. I mean, I would rather have some others.
Like Godwin or Montgomery, like most people. No, look, I think, obviously, Hackettstown's Finest should win this game. I don't think – I mean, who is Mike Evans playing? He's playing the Rams. Right? Is that right? Or the Chargers?
Yeah,
no, the Rams. He's playing the Rams. Sorry. Yeah, he's not having that kind of game. Hackettstown's Finest, they win this game. I mean, he has no running backs. His one weapon. He's not going to do anything. Thielen's playing the Bears. So far, a lock of the week candidate for me in this game. I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's looking good, but I mean, as we saw, anything can happen.
Anything can happen. All 3 0-3 teams won last week, so you never know. But I'm just saying, right now, when I'm looking at this, that's what I see.
Yeah.
All right, let's move on to the next game here in hour 7. Where do we want to go?
Let's go to
as you put your tray tables in the upright and lock position as we
go to the lightning rods and the hagglers.
The lightning rods and the hagglers. Now this is an old rivalry here in the center. I mean, what? So this had the Gillisley game, I recall.
Yes, that was the week 1, and I started 0-5 one season and scratched and clawed my way back to 4-5. With a playoff spot on the line, I lost to the Lightning Rods, who dealt the crushing final blow, and I ended up 4-9.
No. I think you ended up 6 and 7. I think that was the game.
Horrible.
Yeah.
Thanks to him. So that's always in our memory banks. We did get some revenge 2 seasons ago. He was part of I think we started the streak with his team.
That's true, yeah.
Since then, I mean, it's been a heated ride. I mean, it's only heated on my part because I've never heard his voice. So hopefully he will be one of our spotlight coaches. We can actually hear what he sounds like.
Yeah, I'm actually kind of curious to hear what he has to say just about any of this.
I mean, we've seen him in the Center Bowl, obviously running over us, but that's fantasy football.
Yeah, but you don't have a chance to talk to him as he's
right,
50 yards down the field beating us.
Rushing for a 50-yard touchdown.
Okay.
All right, so let's go into this a little bit. So this is post-Chernobyl. We do have some different players coming out of the ooze, the radioactive ooze. Literally seconds ago, we were just scouring the waiver wire and noticed that Nick Zaveri dropped the Pittsburgh defense. So we were quick to pick them up. That was one of the people we were looking at.
He just bid $5 on them. What did he do?
I don't know. He picked up Indianapolis, so he must be reading Defensive Digest.
He literally, why would you bid $5 for what? He bid $5 for a defense last night, and he's already dropped them tonight? Zamunda. I don't, okay. Please send the Indianapolis defenses. We are in dire straits over there in Zamunda. Okay, whatever.
So yeah. Other than that, I already talked. I expect a loss this week because the pieces aren't in place. We're getting there, but wouldn't be surprised if we caught an L. With Melvin Gordon coming back, the back and forth between the Eckler, Gordon coming back / James Conner camps. The real winner in all this is Phillip Rivers because he's going to have that a humongous screen game. So he just missed the dumpster himself because he was out of here after the Miami game. So we'll put the lid on the dumpster for him. He might actually hang around for a while. Fitzgerald Aguilar invited that man. They were throwing babies out the window last week, and because this Philadelphia resident was a good Samaritan and showed up at this fire, and they were throwing babies out the window to save them from the fire. And when interviewed, he said he was catching the babies, unlike Aguilar, who was dropping everything. So Nelson Aguilar heard this and invited the man to the game. So I'm assuming he's going to have a ball out game with inviting this man from the fire over there. So we're going to keep him in the lineup this week. He looks good. Nick Chubb.
Although it would be hilarious if he drops another big one and the guy just leaves. He's like,
and the guy just exactly. And Jordan Howard.
Or they sign him. Go ahead.
Yeah, Jordan Howard picked up for the Green Bay game. I'm not expecting a lot out of him, but Green Bay has given up the most rushing yards in the NFL this season. Ingram has been talked about by a lot of people as a decent tight end. We'll see how that works. I got him from the Lightning Rods, and Lightning Rods got Edelman from me. So this is, again, the seven points of Hagler trading here. We'll see how we go.
But he has
head-to-head Edelman.
Yep,
Edelman versus Ingram, head-to-head. We've got Lindsey. Now, if you remember in the auction, there's a lot of history here. I wanted Lindsey, and I thought that I drafted him, but I didn't press the button, I guess. He got him for like $8.
Yeah, and yet you didn't try to stop the entire auction at that point. It's weird.
Yeah, go figure. Yes, exactly. I just moved on. Anyway. So he's got Wilson, Diggs. I mean, Diggs and Thielen, I got to tell you, Minnesota, the receiver value in Minnesota has gone down dramatically because they run the ball. Let's face it. They're a run-first team. So, and plus they're playing Chicago. His team has some tough matchups. But, like I said, my team is not complete yet. Thank you, Nicky Baby Zamunda. That was a big help. I wanted Pittsburgh. I can't really just throw them away like that. That's actually pretty good. We'll see. Anybody else want to throw our way?
Where's your $60 man, Hawkinson?
Hawkinson is no longer on the team, but guess what? He was picked up by the Zamunda Lions today.
Was he? Is that who we actually picked him up for?
I don't understand where we're going with this, but
wait. I need to look at this up. Wait. So he bids all the. Oh my God. Okay. What the hell is going on here? So Zamunda. They picked up Indianapolis. Oh, where's the Hawkinson pickup?
It's right before the.
Oh, right before it for Vernon Davis, who we picked. I don't understand what is going on. But all right, go ahead.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Okay. Anyway. So yeah.
Wasn't Lightning Rod trying to shaft you with Tariq Cohen?
No. He wanted Tariq Cohen, but I had already dropped. That was actually
Geese was trying to shaft him with Tariq Cohen. Who's now
wasn't
available?
Shaft anybody. I didn't even have Tariq Cohen. Dropped in Dave Shaft, and he is a shaft of a shaft. I couldn't even shaft him with the guy because I Butterfinger dropped him into the and of course 3:02 a.m. There's Harbacken circling like a vulture. I think surprisingly, the three teams on this podcast right now are all up at 3:01 a.m. every free agent. Free agent refresh. So
yeah.
So
it helps when you're in Geneva and you're, I don't even know how many hours ahead, and obviously we know their clocks work well.
Yes, they do. They do. It's 9 hours ahead from LA.
Okay, so yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this looks interesting. It would be interesting if Cohen got inserted into the lineup. So I got to play him.
Is Cohen available? Because he was available in 100% of this league.
No, he picked up Lightning Rods. Picked him up.
Oh, so he got his man finally. Congratulations! I feel good for him.
Yes, he did. So this should be an interesting matchup. Of course, I picked myself in this one, but we may also lose. So I don't know if that's really picking yourself. So on to the next game, I guess.
I don't know. Well, the projection is 124.17 to 117 in favor of the Lightning Rods. I don't know. I think they could do fine. I mean, Chubb has a difficult matchup against Baltimore. I mean, Jordan Howard only 5.44 projected, but like you said, Green Bay gives up a lot of points. I do think Phillip Rivers will have a really good game.
Ingram will have a good game against Washington. Washington's terrible.
Yeah.
Thompson, the Giant. I like your matchups.
Yeah. I do too.
I give you a chance. Philip Lindsay won't be as good. Yeah. Elliott plays at New Orleans. That's always tough. Then Diggs at Chicago.
Yeah, that's tough too.
So that's tough. Yeah.
I think I'm actually going to slightly pick the Hagglers. There's, this is certainly not a candidate for lock of the week, but I give a slight matchup edge to the Hagglers in this game.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
So do you see the Lightning Rods rolling up a $1.68 this week, or above?
Chicago's not playing the Washington defense, and who was the one who got him most of those points in that game? Russell Wilson had like an insane. Is he gonna?
Yeah.
Oh, he's playing Arizona, so he might. I don't know. Whatever.
Yeah, but I still like Phillip Rivers to go over Miami.
Oh yeah, that's true. He'll keep pace with him. I know. I'm still slightly picking the.
Agreed.
Okay. So now we have. Let's talk. Well, I'm so curious about what's going on in Zamunda right now. All right. So the Zamunda Lions are underdogs or underlions against the St. Louis Blues, who are projected to get 137.71 to 123.68, 61% favorite for the Blues. As far as Lombardi's tinfoil hat team, Mahomes is going against Detroit.
You have to. This is Cyberdyne. You have to name Lombardi's players. And
I am. Cyberdyne. That's exactly what I'm doing. Mahomes is his player. He absolutely got Mahomes. He's playing at Detroit. Projected to get 33.72 points. Do we count Beckham as a Lombardi player, or is that his own team? Is that a fifth part of this team? Just Beckham on his own?
He was a mistake.
I see a lot of mistakes on this team, but that's not the real question.
So there's Cyberdyne, Lombardi, the mistake, and the Shafto trade. There's 4 different components to this team.
Okay, so Cyberdyne, Keenan Allen going at Miami. Whew, he's going to get some points there. But then Carlos Hyde now playing versus Carolina. Aaron Jones versus Philadelphia. I don't know. Andrews, he's questionable. Interesting versus Cleveland. He's going with Ross the Third on Monday night. He's playing under the lights, but you know how well Andy Dalton does under the lights. I should sit Boyd this week. Anyway, let's see. For Nick, he's rolling with Hawkinson. Who was his tight end? Oh, he had Kittle, so he needed a tight end for this week. So he definitely wants the point.
Literally, 1 point per game
I know,
since week
exactly. So he's going and he's rolling with Kyle Allen. Oh yeah. So I think so. Nick, he both reads the deep sleeper cryo chamber and clearly the Matthew Berry just you know. I don't. What's the word for it? I want to say the plebes, just the the shoveled to the general populace, those kind of shows. Because Kyle Allen. Oh yeah, he's hot. You got to go get him. I'm surprised he didn't pick up Jones. I keep confusing his name, Brown and Jones, but it's actually Jones, right, or whatever. Okay, so Tyrell Williams in Indianapolis, whatever. Hardband, he's finally playing hardband. Good for you. Yeah, I think that's finally carry on luggage. Kamara versus Dallas. I mean, so that's Gordon. Yeah, the Blues is gonna win. Well, I'm sorry, Cyberdyne's gonna win because he's got Allen at Miami, right? And, and Mahomes.
Yep.
That's it. That's all you really need to see about here. I mean, at least Hardman will be getting some of Mahomes' points. But he spreads it out so much that it's not like it's going to make that much of a dent.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. Although, I mean, first of all, is Andrews going to play? Is this even a thing? He didn't practice. Foot injury on Wednesday. That could be tough.
Trey Burton.
Yeah, the nightmare before the season. I mean, otherwise he can maybe make a deal for Hawkinson. I don't know what he's gonna have to give up there. Maybe Ross. I think Lombardi's the umbrella of the Lombardi organization over there, called the Blues, is going to win this game, beating Zamundo.
Yep.
Okay.
I agree.
All right. So I guess we could go to the other 2-0 team. Ooh, this is an intriguing matchup. Rematch of the first ever championship game, as Nick and Jamie is taking on the Mighty Whalers. The Mighty Whalers favored 135.90 to 120.81. No T.Y. Hilton in this game, yet he's still getting a 14.64 projection. That's pretty good for a guy who who did not practice today, but maybe, who knows? Carson Wentz on Thursday night. I don't know. LaShawn McCoy also injured for the Whalers. Marlon Mack. So he's rolling with 3 running backs. Marlon Mack, Devontae Freeman, and Hunter Henry over there at the garbage barge. Delaney Walker's been fine. Galladay going versus Casey. I mean, what did he get? Like 3.7 last week after all the other... whatever. All right. Do you think Mixon has a good game against Pittsburgh? I mean, their defense was actually not that bad. I mean, as one can attest. I mean, they're no Hawkinson, but, clearly, I don't know. I think that's a tougher matchup, and I don't even know if McCoy goes. Maybe play Royce Freeman, but he's got a questionable next to him. I don't know. Maybe Kenyon Drake makes an appearance this year. Drake's Cakes. It's been a while. He logged an 8.2 last week.
Is he the only Dolphin playing in this league?
Probably. I mean, Bellagio was on Lombardi's team for a while, but I think he finally dropped him. I mean, I did send you that meme earlier that Cromartie has more kids than the Dolphins have had all season. 14 kids, and the Dolphins have 10 points. Yeah, I think. Oh, you got to start Drake's Cakes. Start a Dolphin. Do it, man. Be bold. Yeah, I think that's the only Dolphin in this league. I can't imagine another Dolphin. I don't know. Yeah, Whalers wins this, right? Or does somebody think that that a cruise ship is docking in Hartford this week? Does anybody even have a pulse? If you stayed awake, I know it's a long podcast. I know it's like 12 hours long. Are you still even there?
I'd have to put Whalers at 4-0. Yeah, I say he wins it.
I think so. Has Manny disappeared? Did we talk about Eugene? Did he take another incoming missile hit? You there? Nah, he fell asleep. All right. As we move across the Atlantic, let's see. What else do we got in this?
Yeah, we can hear you.
All right. Anything to add to the garbage barge pulling into Hartford?
No, I think that's pretty much wraps it up.
Okay. All right. Well. Ooh. Wakanda playing Tilla Trey team. This is actually a good game. So right now the projection is 120.20 to 117.78 in favor of Tilla Trade team. Wakanda rolling out. Daniel Jones, 19.3 point projection right there versus Washington. I think that's a good play. I think he has a good game here. He's moved or set up to the flex. Does Devontae Adams have a good game finally? That's a question. Does anybody want to answer it or no? Did it turn out to be a rhetorical one? Okay, nobody wants to answer it. I don't even know if they're there anymore. Ingram going versus... oh, gosh. Go ahead.
No, I don't think you can hear Manny there. He said he is due for a good game.
Oh, he is. Eugene tapping into the phone lines. Look at this.
Yeah, I can hear everybody.
All right, perfect. Okay. All right, so now Ingram at Cleveland and Gallman versus Washington. Do you think Gallman actually performs this week?
There's a lot of Gallman haters out there. They're actually bringing in losers like Jay Ajayi because they don't believe in Gallman. So no.
All right, Olsen versus Houston. Olsen has been great, and Disley, he's rolling with 2 tight ends. That's what he has to move to over there in Wakanda. I guess
jumbo package.
Yep. The jumbo Wakanda package. I guess the tight ends are immune from whatever's going around there. The injury bug.
I guess Godwin will be in another trade offer for a tight end to Wakanda.
Yeah, I mean Montgomery too. Don't think that he's not necessarily going to be shipped off over there.
Oh yeah, that's another one.
I know.
Sitting on the bench.
No, don't you mean potential starter?
Yeah, I know. I mean, nobody on hockey's bench is a potential starter at all, being that they literally can't play. I mean, Watkins, he's sitting Watkins. That's an interesting play. I mean, other than that, literally everybody else is either suspended or out.
You know, hockey, we do have an IR spot once again.
Yeah, I know. Use the IR spot. I don't know who you want to pick up, but pick up somebody. I mean, Hawkinson. Before you could have had yourself some Hawkinson, but you didn't. All right, for Tillett Trey. Brady at Buffalo. That'll actually be a good NFL football game. Jones versus Tennessee. Jones has been on fire quietly. Nobody's been talking about him, but I mean, these point totals that he's had the first 3 weeks, 15 the first week, 27 in week 2, and 26 last week. Is he going to continue that against Tennessee? I don't think so.
Yep.
Oh wow, you're asleep. Are they playing are they ready to serve the meal on this on this flight? All right, David Johnson versus Seattle. Fournette at I don't know, whatever. Is OJ Howard going to get any points? Chark, he's playing Chark. That's good. I don't know. I think this is going to be another 100.
Close.
Okay, what?
I think it's a close game. I think the projections are pretty accurate. I don't think they're going to get to 120 and 107. Like, I think it's going to be a little bit lower scoring than that. I think they're going to be around the 100 mark.
Interesting. Which player on the hockey's team do you think is going to get injured?
I think it will be Mark Ingram this week.
Okay.
Oh, if he can absorb that, I mean,
Yeeks. I actually don't. No, go ahead.
I think Daniel Jones will also come back to reality, so I don't think it's a smart move to play him this week. I mean, it is against Washington.
Yeah, I think he's going to come back down to reality, but not this week.
but it's a divisional game, so divisional games are always close. Usually.
Yeah, but I mean, yes, but Washington sucks, and the Giants. I mean, this is the new vaunted Giants.
It is a better option than playing Dalton at Pittsburgh. So.
Oh yeah, especially on Monday night. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Plus, he spent like 50. He spent like Hawkinson money on this guy.
Yeah, he spent a lot of money on him.
I mean, you got to at least wait 2 weeks before you throw that in the trash. Okay.
I would start Watkins over the Seattle tight end, Will Disley.
Yeah, that would make sense to me, but okay. I don't know why. Okay.
Especially with Tyreek Hill still out. I mean, you got to play Watkins. He's probably one of the better receivers on that team.
And he hasn't even done that poor. I mean, he's gotten double digits every game. 40. I mean, obviously the 46 we know, 10, and then 11. I mean, play him. Why are you not playing? I mean, don't play him in the flex. But I mean, what does Disley do? What has Disley done? Disley Poo squad. I mean, he's done all right. 22, week 2 and 18 last week. But I mean, really? Okay, let's see. Predictions. This is a tough one for me to.
It is tough. Close game. I think I probably lean slightly towards Wakanda.
Interesting.
Yes. I'd have to go Tilla Trey. There's just too many injuries for hockey to overcome. Probably more coming.
I know, and I don't think New England's going to get the I mean, they're playing Buffalo. Are they going to get? Because a lot of that point total has been from New England now that everybody else is down, and plus. We're already predicting an Ingram injury, so, I'm going to go with Chill just because he's snake bitten. I don't think that there's any way around that. All right.
The final game, the Memphis Monkeys in the 1603.
Oh, yes. Look at this. The Memphis Monkeys versus the 1603ers. So the projection is 131.56. To 123.47 in favor of the 1603ers. I am not going to make the mistake of playing Lamar Jackson this week and waking up and whatever. I'm going to play Dak Prescott against New Orleans. Not that Lamar Jackson has a bad. I think I'll have a good game against Cleveland. I'm feeling Dak, especially on Sunday night. Wow, he shipped in apparently. Jameis Winston for that one game. He doesn't feel confident with rolling with the Winst against the Rams.
That's convenient.
Yeah, but he feels confident about Matt Ryan against Tennessee. Interesting. I don't know about this Tyler Boyd situation because Andy Dalton sucks, but he's going to get a lot of targets. I guess. I don't know because they're going to be from behind. DJ Moore. I have really been impressed with DJ Moore's performances all season long. However, last week I was kind of troubled by the lack of targets because the first couple weeks he had a ton of targets, and then last week he only had 2. He still turned it into the most he possibly could with a 50-something yard touchdown. So he did get double digits, but that's kind of troubling right there. Cooper Kupp could run roughshod against Tampa Bay. We saw how Sterling Shepard did in that game. I don't know about Smith-Schuster. He's been pretty bad other than that one reception. Dalvin Cook against Chicago. I mean, Dalvin Cook is going to be good. He's going to get his points. But it is Chicago, so it is kind of a tough matchup there. McCaffrey at Houston, I think McCaffrey will do fine. I actually finally think that James Conner is going to show up because Cincinnati's run defense is the worst in the league, I believe. Sony Michel at Buffalo, I don't think that's that great. Waller, who's been fantastic playing at Indianapolis, going against Vernon Davis, the new pickup. He's playing Valdez-Scantling, the law offices of Valdez-Scantling. I guess the name is not bothering him this week. And he's making the cardinal mistake of putting him in the flex. But, what am I? I'm not going to complain about that. Going against Christian Kirk versus Seattle. It's a tough game there. Crosby and Sly. And the Seattle defense versus the Chargers defense. I don't know. I always pick my opponent, so I'm going to pick the Monkeys here. But that's going to be with a little, I don't know. I will let you guys predict this.
I would go with the 6-0 Brewers over the Monkeys. That's it.
I agree. I think McCaffrey and Moore have tough matchups with the Houston, but so do the Memphis Monkeys with Dalvin Cook at Chicago.
How did but I mean, what did Eckler do last week against Houston?
Not well.
Not well. Interesting. Okay.
I'm gonna make this bold prediction out of nowhere. Dalvin Cook slips on a banana peel and gets knocked out by the Chicago Bears, and I have the new Dalvin Cook.
He doesn't play for Wakanda.
Eckler was actually okay. He gave me 15 points last week against the Houston, so not bad.
I think then I'm feeling okay about this game, but yeah, like I said, I never pick myself against my opponent, so I will give it to the Monkeys there. Plus, we've seen what they've done. Hopefully, they follow in the footsteps of the Gunners. It's those old wily Gunners and get destroyed, but we'll see. Okay, time to put your seats in your upright and locked positions as we're ready to take this show in for a landing. Finally, I don't even know how long we've gone. I can't give you time codes, Tillett, because I'm not going through this crap. So, any other thoughts before we go?
Nope.
Well, should be an interesting week.
It should be. I think a lot of things will shake out in the standings and everything else. We'll get a better sense of where things are going. This is an important week, especially since everybody's 1-2, except for the two teams that are going to just win their games and be 4-0 ridiculously in this league. All right. So, first of all, I'd like to thank Eugene for joining us on the program.
Yes, thank you.
I look forward to our guest next week. Please contact us, or we'll be contacting you to be on this program. I'd like to hear from you. I'd like, who should we get? Who are we interested in getting in this next week?
Well, we know who's always on every single week, so we'll save Manny for later on in the season. We're trying to get Gaten Casimir.
That would be nice. Okay. I'd love to get Gaten Casimir. Nick and Jamie, I know you listen. We can get you. Players that we haven't heard from before. Whalers, where are you? Come on the program. Talk about your Shafto trades. The new Shafto trader. The secret of Shafto trader. That's why he doesn't want to be on the program. He doesn't want any attention. The white hot spotlight on him as he tries to take over the Blues. All right, yeah. So we'll try to get in touch with you. Actually, so we are doing the recordings at your convenience, so you don't have to worry about our actual recording time. So we'll work around your schedules, but we're trying to do the interviews around Tuesdays. All right. So for myself and the other two,
we're not doing a lock of the week or upset of the week.
Oh yeah, why not? We can move into the 24th hour. All right, go ahead. Who's your lock of the week?
Lock of the week easily. Cyberdyne with Matt Lombardi in tow over the Zoomer Alliance. Lock of the week.
Okay, Manny.
I probably have to agree. Yeah. I actually like my matchup a lot this week. I think I'm in a good position, but I don't want to jinx it. But other than that, I would agree with Geza.
I don't mind jinxing it. I'm going to go with Hackettstown's Finest as the lock of the week against Eugene's Secret Crush. Potential upset of the week. What of these favored teams do you think has the best chance of winning? I guess theoretically it would be Wakanda. Because they are certainly, I mean, that's barely an upset of the week.
I think the best game of the week is the Lightning Rods and the Hagglers. I think that's extremely close.
I think it's Wakanda and Tillett, but yeah, I do think that the other one is also extremely close.
I think Nick and Jamie Garbage Barge might upset the Whalers unless he scores a lot of points.
Yeah, it might be interesting, although I think Whalers is definitely... I mean, you never know with the Garbage Barge. You never know if the cruise ship or the garbage barge is going to be pulling into Hartford this week. But I don't know. We shall see. All right, say your goodbyes, gentlemen, to everybody else, as we've just heard the ding-ding. We're coming in for a landing right now. You could have flown from here to God knows where and still not gotten through this entire podcast. Who knows how long it is? We're going to try to cut it down for next week before you send us all of your comments going, oh, this is too long, and whatever else. I don't care. Listen to it. You have 4 days. I mean, granted, but if you start listening right now, it'll probably be just you'll finish in time for kickoff on at least Sunday. You're not going to finish in time for kickoff on Thursday, I'll tell you that. But you'll finish in time for kickoff on Sunday at least.
All right,
guys.
Yeah.
Thanks a lot. It will be an interesting week.
Yep.
To say the least.
All right, we'll see you guys next week. Thank you so much. All right, goodbye, everybody.
All right. See ya.
All right. Peace out.